It's an ambush.
Oh my God, it's an ambush!
It's an ambush!
Of course!
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to attempt number 2 at streaming on Friday with Undoomed after a bizarre technical something or other with StreamYard or something wherein neither of us could hear each other and neither could you. Whoops. That music's way too loud. There we go. That's better. But yes, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Friday Night Funtime with Undoomed. Hi, Undoomed.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing okay. It's been kind of a draining week, and then I'm off on the road tomorrow, so the fun never stops.
Yeah.
How's your week been?
It is what it is. Oh, just a normal, regular week. Working away, and now I'm just gonna chillax. Talk to you.
Yay, talk to me. I'm always happy to hang out and just kibitz for a while. How's everybody in the chat doing? Hope everybody's doing well this evening. Because I changed streams, of course, I lost my donation link thing, so let me put that up in the chat real quick, guys. Please donate to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. So that link is at the top of the chat box, guys. If you have the opportunity, please take a look at that, and if you can donate, please do so. But even if you can't, if you can share that out on social media, that would be appreciated. So with all that official stuff out of the way, who's joining us for this second try at the apple, as it were? Attack Alpaca, good evening. Random American, hello. Walter Tomaszewski, hello. Kiro Soldier, good evening. JPS, hello. Jamie Milquist, hello. I have something special here in a second for Jamie Milquist. K. Roberts, hello. Wheezy McBluntblowin, hello. Miranda Stone is here, guys. I don't know if you know about Miranda Stone, but if you don't, let me tell you. Evil One is here. Mike R, hello. The Alexander is here. Toku154. Wait, is that a name I've not said in a long time? I feel like I'm having some muscle memory with saying that name out loud. Toku, are you an OG? And I'm just seeing you now because we're streaming at an odd time for me. So, Resolute Germ, hello. And I think that's everybody. Now, Jamie Milquist, I was remiss last night. Jamie Milquist's daughter, Vicky, had a birthday yesterday. And I had intended to sing Happy Birthday to Vicky last night on the Ted Excellence show. But it escaped me, and I apologize. And so now, to try to make up for that, here comes a nice birthday song for Vicky. And a 1 and a 2. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Vicky. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Vicky. Belated as it is. And holy cats, Derek LaRue, good gravy. Thank you so much. That's ridiculously generous of you, Derek. Holy cow, thank you so much.
Wow, not even a message.
Derek is the strong silent type.
Yeah.
He never leaves messages. He's mysterious that way. But wow, Derek, appreciate it so very much. I'll be working to pay that forward. Hope you're having a good evening, and really do hope you enjoy the show. Thank you so much for your generosity, as always. And also Angelverse, hello. So, what's on your mind, Undoomed? What's going on?
Well, now you're putting me on the spot.
I know. What was it I saw? You're a big Stargate fan.
Yes,
as far as I understand it. I saw something the other day about some kind of like documentary behind Stargate or something. Some Stargate news came out. Okay. But I saw some clip, and I'm sure it's from a convention from like 20 years ago. Now I have to confess, save for the very, very early episodes back on TV, which I don't even remember at this point, I never watched the Stargate TV show, so I don't have any reference for that. For some reason, little Stargate videos pop up in my feed occasionally, and one was today about A weapon that they never liked using, the Techlictron or some other space gun.
Yeah,
Do you know?
the Zat.
The Zat, yes. Okay,
Yes.
so real quick, JPS, thank you so much for the #1 Dog Cat Fox. Oh, Dog Cat Fox.
Wow. Wow.
Ooh, there's a Sinatra Says Dog Cat Fox. Thank you so much, JPS. So what is the Zat?
The Zat is like a. It has 3 levels, or actually, if you fire it once, you stun. If you fire it twice, you kill. If you fire it 3 times, it disintegrates. And then somebody figured out after the first time they did that, like, okay, this is stupid. Never mention that again, that you could disintegrate something after 3 shots.
Yeah, because how does it know?
Yeah, and it would be like, okay, how long in between, and
Yeah.
and it would be too easy to do away with things in stories, like, oh, we need to get rid of this, well, just shoot it. So it's like, okay, let's never talk about that again.
It's a bit too Deus Ex Machina, easy solve
Yeah.
everything. Yeah. Like
Yeah,
if you
so-
shoot it at a door 3 times, does the door disintegrate?
Exactly. I mean, there's so many
Yeah.
problems with that. So
Yeah, you'd think they would have thought of that before they put it on screen, but I guess it's just one of those things.
yeah, I guess they didn't think it through. Like,
Oh, wow.
that's cool. Like, you know, it's alien technology. Why not? Why wouldn't it be able to do that? Yeah, but it's not good for the story, man.
Right. Or the universe. Yeah, once you set up something like that, it's very difficult to turn back the clock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember like...
I think there is an episode where they sort of wink at the camera a little bit about it.
Oh.
But I don't remember exactly which episode that is, where they
Yeah.
sort of, they pointed out somehow, but yeah. It's
Yeah,
kind of a dumb idea.
setting myself up for a failing discussion there because I've got nothing to offer on the subject, just for the fact that something came up on my feed today about Stargate, and I was like, as soon as you contacted me, I was like, oh, yeah, he likes Stargate. Big Stargate fan.
Oh, yeah.
Is Stargate better than Star Trek, in your opinion?
Yes. It
Oh,
is.
wow. Okay.
But not by much. It's just, it doesn't take itself so seriously, and it has more fun, you know,
Mhm.
itself. And it's just the chemistry is better.
All right.
But you know, I'm a huge Star Trek fan, so don't
Yes.
get me wrong.
Which was part of the impetus for, or at least, well, we'll discuss. Do you want to do the Star Trek stuff now, or?
Sure.
Okay, because I did spend some time reordering the films.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, because my idea was, we've seen this a couple of times on Red Letter Media videos,
Yes.
right? They order the best John Carpenter movie or something
Yes.
like that.
I think right now they're on Joe Dante movies.
Joe Dante, yeah, right.
Yeah.
So I figured that'd be fun to just do a ranking of the Star Trek movies.
Sure.
They
So
haven't
for those
done
of you
that,
in the
so
chat-
we're going to be first.
Okay, so guys in the chat, if you are Star Trek fans, follow along with us. So I have, thankfully, seen all of these movies over the years. Some more recently than others, so I will be stretching back my memory in some instances, but there's more a sentimental feeling over certain things than maybe detailed memory.
Right. We should say, we should agree on who's got the master list. We
Right.
don't talk
So
about it.
who's the Rich Evans here?
Right.
Well, let's see. Since you're the pro at this, you're far more into Star Trek. I cannot say that I'm not a fan of Star Trek, but I'm not a hardcore fan. So I'm sure that you're probably more professional. So we'll give the fault to me on being the Rich Evans. So we'll start, and I'll give my we'll start from the bottom, and I'll give my 13 placement. So this is how it goes, guys. I'll give the ranking I have when we start at 13 going up, and we'll discuss that movie. And then as if we cross over, then we don't have to worry about it, but then we'll compare as we go where each of us ranked things. and then that'll be. I think that's how that works.
Yeah, like
All right.
we talk about the ones on the master list, whoever
Yeah.
that is.
Okay, so my 13, and we'll find out what you think. My 13 is Star Trek Insurrection.
Perfect. That's mine too.
Okay, good. Well, then we're already on a good shot. Yeah, so
That is
Star
the
Trek
worst Star Trek
Insurrection.
movie.
Yeah,
Yes.
this was the 4th Next Generation outing, I think.
Yeah, third. No,
Third?
wait. Yeah, third. Generation.
Oh, wait, yeah, Nemesis was the last one. Yeah, Nemesis
Yeah.
was the last one. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, so Insurrection, I saw this in the theater. This is how old I am. I saw it in the theater. And a couple of things. So it felt like a bad episode of the main series.
Yes, that's both the good thing and the bad thing about it is that it feels just like an episode.
Yeah,
Which could be a good thing.
it
'cause
could,
it's like-
but it all depends on
it's-
the quality of the writing, yeah.
Yeah, but it's also so incredibly stupid. And I hate the troglodyte aliens who are like, well, we believe that if you create a machine to do the work of a man, you take away something from the man. Like, shut the fuck up. Go out and plow your fucking field.
Exactly. Yeah, where does the line between it's like so are you not allowed to use a shovel? I mean, technically it's a piece of technology. You're not using your
Yeah.
hands. It's like
Yeah.
a couple of things that I remember about this, because it's been a very, very I only saw it the one time, if you can believe it. The 3 things stand out to me. One, the battle at the end, you could still see the blue screen at the back. They didn't put in the special effects.
That was very weird. I don't
Yeah.
know if that's like if they were just stupid and figured that looks cool. Let's have a blue screen there.
When
Or
I
if
saw it
they-
in the theater, I thought they left out a special effect. I thought it was they just didn't finish the movie.
I mean, I can't imagine that they left it out, but it's so perfect though. Like there's like no like. Usually when you do green screens or blue screens, there's like a little piece here and there where there wasn't enough green screen and stuff like that. You know, little shit, and there's like tape on the wall for tracking
Right.
and all that sort of stuff. So it's a perfect blue wall. And I guess they just thought that was cool. Because, like I said, if that was a real blue screen, there would be all these markers and all this shit and fucking C-stands with lights and, you know, all sorts of... So in that case, they would have had to paint those out which sounds
it looked so
even
out of
more
place.
stupid.
It looked so out of place. To this
But,
day, I
yeah.
still feel like it was an unfinished effect.
I feel like it feels like it, yes, but I doubt that was the case. But it really looks like what? Wait, what? Where's the green screen or blue screen effect? You forgot to turn it on.
The second thing I always remember is just how awkward Dr. Crusher looked trying to be an action star. Like her carrying around a laser rifle and trying to look like she was in combat it just doesn't.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like guys, you know, Gates McFadden is good for many things. An action scene, not one of them, and at least not with that direction.
No, but she didn't have anything to do in this movie.
I know.
So they had to do something. Like,
Yeah, her and Deanna Troi got like the shortest end of the stick on most episodes of the original series.
Sure. But in Deanna Troy's case, she deserved it.
True.
All she did was state the obvious and drive the ship into a planet. So, fuck her.
Yeah, they really did not set that character up for utility.
No.
The other thing, the villains. When I saw them in the theater, so this was 1998, and this is all of like I think 3 or 4 years or less, or no 2 years because it was 96. Escape from LA was 96, and every time I saw the bad guys, I couldn't help but think of the Bruce Campbell plastic surgeon cultist in Escape from LA, because they're all having their faces stretched around and stuff, and I just thought they're like plastic surgery addicts. They're trying to keep themselves young or immortal or whatever, because the planet's like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
And also F. Murray Abraham. I mean, he was an Oscar winner, and he's like this the stupidest Star Trek villain ever.
Yeah,
And he's trying his best. He's really trying to do his best with his big, his booming voice and his screams and his speeches and stuff. But oh man,
yeah, he should have been much more low key. If you're gonna hire that guy, you're gonna have to have him low key. He's more menacing when he's low key.
Yeah,
he was trying to do a con or something.
Yeah. That's what I thought. He was just being far too bombastic for what that character probably needed. He needed to be more sinister than like Rage Monster. Not that it would have helped the rest of the movie, but at least it would have helped the character.
Yeah.
But this was like a long, badly written episode. The invisible fortress in the lake thing had all sorts of problems with it.
Right. The thing that was
level.
cloaked.
Yeah, the cloaked ship or whatever it was. The water level was here at one point and then up here at the other point. And jeez.
Yeah.
And Picard's romance for this one-off chick he meets on this planet. It's like, okay, he's not Kirk. He's had flings before, briefly.
Sure.
But it doesn't work like that.
But they should also make up their mind, right? Because I don't think they even kiss. So it's like, is she or isn't she a love interest?
Yeah, that's true. It was kind of very Puritan of a romance.
Yeah, it was like they're 6 years old or something.
But
so that sucked.
Yeah, that's Insurrection, guys. I don't know if there's much else to say about it because it's just bad.
No, it's just cringe. That's what it is to me. It's like all these things with Data talking about, oh, your boobs are firming up. Like, shut the fuck up. And Picard and Data singing while they're battling in a spaceship. And like, oh my god, just make the cringe stop.
Yeah, I mean, and Picard. In the movies, they made the relationship between Picard and Data so father and son, when in the series, I mean, Picard still understood, and Picard always had like an emotional distance to most people, and that's why the very last episode where he sits down for a game of poker was so significant, because he never fraternized with the crew really, and when he did, it was a significant moment. Right. He never loosened up, and so the idea that he's suddenly like. Data's almost like a son figure to him once the movies start. Like it never made sense to me. It felt like such a jump, or it needed something more. I mean, we saw Picard argue for Data's humanity in a way, in like the Drumhead or whatever. But at the same time, that still, Measure of a Man. But that still felt like. It still felt like a principled argument rather than like a compassionate, I care about this toaster argument, if that makes any sense.
No.
So more an intellectual challenge or a challenge of ethics.
And he was ordered to do it, so.
Yeah, exactly, yes. But yeah, just looking up the facts on this. So it was directed by Jonathan Frakes, of course. The story was by Rick Berman and Michael Piller, so obviously veterans of the show.
But how many episodes did Rick Berman write?
Did Berman do? I honestly don't know.
I'm not sure either, but I don't remember seeing his name in the writer's credits that often.
Yeah.
I know Michael Piller did write it.
Yeah, he was the executive producer on nearly every show of the modern era. He was a screenwriter. I can't say offhand how many episodes he wrote.
No, I have no idea.
But anyway, whatever he contributed to this, it didn't help.
No, I think probably Bergman was the one who fucked it up because he was extremely into keeping everything the way they are.
Yeah,
and he's probably the one who argued for make it like an episode, you know.
Which again, depending on how that works out, it can work. I mean, if you have a glorified episode of Star Trek on a cinematic level, that can work.
Sure.
But all right, well, that's number 13. Both our 13s.
Yeah.
So let's see if we have some difference. I think as we go up, we'll have more difference of opinion, but you never know.
Yeah.
All right. So my number 12 was Star Trek Into Darkness.
That's my number 12 too.
What? Okay, well, I feel good so far because I got super fan over here and I'm more of just a novice. Okay, so one of the problems I had with this was just like with so much that Disney was doing, it was just a rehash. Well, okay, recasting Khan, but then letting everybody know it was Khan before the movie even came out. That was one of the things that really hurt this, because if there was going to be a twist to this, but the thing was, everybody suspected it was Khan before they even like let it go. Like all the fan theories were already like, oh, who's Benedict Cumberbatch playing? It's got to be Khan.
Right.
So there was no. It's not the movie's fault per se, but I'm not sure that if you didn't already know the previous continuity's lore, that the revelation of this being Khan would mean anything to you.
Yeah, and also then they shoehorn in another bad guy. RoboCop shows up, and he's now the bad guy. Like, what? Why?
Yeah, you got two villains.
You got to have like one villain per story. Unless they're cooperating, which they weren't.
They didn't.
Really. They were trying to stab each other in the back, basically. Yeah,
and Kirk's caught in the middle, and of course he's dating the guy's daughter for like a one-off storyline. Not that Alice Eve is hard on the eyes or nothing, but at the same time, it's like, why she's here for like one instance and then she's gone again.
Yeah, she was there to show up in lingerie.
Which is, hey, like I say, don't mind that. The other thing too, it really, the over the top nature of the super duper starships. Like Daddy's Star Trek Enterprise was like 4 times the size of the regular Enterprise when it finally shows up, whatever it's called, the Vengeance or something. And it's just like, I realize I'm watching sci-fi, but you know, the thing about Star Trek, at least classically speaking, from what I remember, is it was always kind of grounded in some sense of proportionality to science and reality a little bit. Mm-hmm. That a ship that large would be built for what purpose? What does the size of, you know, how many, if you wanted to make a warship or a battle fleet or something, you could have made 17 battleships out of what it took to make that one thing. I had sort of like the Death Star mentality looking at that deal.
Yeah, but it's J.J. Abrams. Obviously, he made the Enterprise like 6 times bigger than it was in the original series as well.
Because bigger is always better for some reason.
Yeah, because he wanted an entire brewery to be the engine room.
Give Scotty something to do. Simon Pegg needs some room to ham it up. Also, Spock going absolutely barbarian at the end there and screaming and yelling and beating the crap out of Khan.
Yeah, like, that's so JJ.
What are you doing? What? And of course I saw this in the theater, and as I was watching it, the biggest, we're just talking about the sort of world-breaking nature of the Zat from Stargate, the world-breaking nature of Khan's blood. It cures death. It makes you immortal. Like, wait, what?
I hate it when they kill people only to bring them back.
I know. What's the point?
And JJ loves this shit, obviously. He did it in I think it was 2 times in The Rise of Skywalker, right? It was like they killed Chewbacca, but then he wasn't dead.
Oh no, yeah. Force, yeah, right. Yeah, Rise of, yeah, he gets killed out and comes back again. Yeah.
Yeah, and then.
Well, I never watched Rise of Skywalker. I only know about it through.
Yeah, I've only seen it once, but
I never bothered.
It was so bad.
Yeah, well, I mean, when they killed Chewbacca off in the novels years and years ago, that was a huge deal. Everybody was like, "Oh my god!" And he didn't come back. They didn't resurrect Chewbacca in the novels. He was dead. Like they killed him off in that new series, the new Jedi Order series or whatever, and he was gone. And fans were pissed. But at the same time, they made it meaningful because they didn't bring him back, and he was referenced in the future. That's what you got to do. You can't. You know, like when they resurrected Robin for Batman, all these things. Like, nah, really, dead. Sometimes dead should be dead. Very few times that they've resurrected a character has been better than leaving him dead.
It's like, okay, so they did bring Spock back in Search for Spock, obviously.
Yes.
But that was the next movie. They at least let the character die for this movie.
Right.
I'm not really a fan of that either, but okay, it's better because now when people go home, they think of Spock as dead.
Yeah.
So, but to just do it and then 5 minutes later, like, hey guys, we got magical blood.
Right. And this magical blood will never be mentioned again nor synthesized to cure the world's illnesses because no. Yeah, we're not going to take Khan and clone him or just make him unconscious and use him as a blood farm forever to cure the world's diseases. No.
Yeah.
Or cure death because, that's what you do.
Pretty much.
But yeah, not my favorite thing. A bad representation of Spock.
It was really a real showcase for J.J. Abrams of how bad he is.
Yeah, and also just to steal moments and scenes from other movies and just remake them in this deal, which is
that's all he can do, really.
Yeah,
that's
he's a
all
recycler.
he does.
He's a recycler.
The first movie was stupid, but then everyone figured like, okay, now they can do something new. Now they've set up the universe, but then it's just the Wrath of Khan. Okay.
Yeah, or just a remix of Khan.
Yeah, a remix of it.
And
sure.
I realize that this is a different timeline or continuity or something. At the same time, I thought, if you're going to cast Chris Pine as Kirk, and you could kind of see him as an analog for Kirk, and you cast Zachary Quinto as Spock, and you make him look like a Leonard Nimoy type Spock. Khan should look like Khan. You got to find a Ricardo Montalban. You don't find Benedict Cumberbatch, for crying out loud. I
don't have anything against Cumberbatch, but I didn't like him in this role at all. He was so
miscast,
over the top. Like
he
enunciates every word like his life depends on it. And
he had a very chipped way of pronunciation of every syllable. It was just very.
Yeah, it was weird. It was not natural.
He should have been playing a character other than Khan. Basically, they could have just made him a new character, and the whole Khan thing was absolutely unnecessary. Save that it gave you some moment of, ooh, what does this mean when old Spock talks to new Spock and is like, I swore I would not talk about things we did. However, Khan Union Sung was the most. It's like, oh god.
Yeah, he just wanted to have that Khan scream.
Yeah. Kildrig, thank you so much. Jason Todd Robin was brought back to life in Batman comics, and I think it was one of the worst things to happen in Batman comics. Yeah, I never liked bringing back Robin, and I'm only, just as a quick aside, I'm only partially not happy that they brought back Bucky, except for the fact that the story they used to bring back Bucky was so good and so well written that I can kind of forgive it because the Winter Soldier arc originally in Captain America was excellent. I mean, if you're gonna bring a character back after several decades of being dead, that was one way to do it. Probably the best way to do it. But as far as Robin was concerned, I always thought that if you're gonna kill Dick Grayson, probably can't die, but Jason Todd, killed by the Joker, that raises the stakes in the whole universe, and bringing him back cheapens it completely. But thank you, Keldrick. Yeah, dead should be dead, or at least dead long enough to be meaningful.
Yeah.
If they're back in 10 minutes or 2 issues later or something, it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was number 12. So now the stakes are getting higher, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Undoomed and I have been on the same page. I assume this is where we will depart.
Okay.
All right. So number 11 for me was Star Trek Nemesis.
Okay. For me, number 11 is Star Trek.
Okay. Well, all right. We'll get. You're talking about the first J.J. Abrams.
Yes.
Okay. Well, then we're not too far off because that was my number 10.
Right.
So we flipped it. Star Trek Nemesis. Again, the generation or the Star Trek Next Generation movies really were petering out by the end. I didn't like this one because the cloning thing made no sense to me. The
plot doesn't really.
No, it really doesn't. How
the hell did a slave get a hold of the most fucking biggest Death Star ship in the galaxy.
Yeah.
What, you just sort of built it from twigs and things you found on the ground in your cave? Like
Yeah,
there were just some cave slaves who mined dilithium, right?
Yeah, and they were like bat mutant things, and it just there was so much you could have done. The Romulan Empire was always a really interesting like idea. I heard from friends of mine who are much bigger fans that there were a couple of novels that were written about the Romulan Empire that were excellent because they dealt with, you know, politics and suspense and intrigue and spycraft and all this types of crazy stuff going on because it's very political. It was very Cold War-esque. There's so much room to maneuver with if you're going to start using the Romulan Empire as the bad guy in a movie for Star Trek. There's a lot of possibility for both. One of the things that Star Trek did so well on so many occasions, which was intergalactic diplomacy and sort of statecraft gamesmanship that Picard would always do, which was always fun to watch on TV. But then you have to make it into this, he's a cloned king of the Bat people on Romulus. Like, what are you doing? And that's like,
yeah.
It's just...
I did enjoy Tom Harding. Or
Tom Hardy, I mean,
Tom
he was...
Hardy,
he did... Yeah, there's some things to admire. Yeah, he did a great job with what he was given.
Yeah, I thought he was fun.
And if he had to be cast at the time as a young Picard, I could probably see it.
I hate that they had a photo of him when he was young and he had a bald head because they thought the audience was so stupid they wouldn't know it was Picard.
Yeah, because Picard had hair around the sides of his head.
Yeah, Picard probably
and in the regular series we saw younger pictures of Picard where he had hair. He lost hair over time because that's what happens when you get older sometimes.
Yeah, that was so stupid.
Yeah. So, and then the Data stuff at the end with killing Data.
Yeah, I mean, they were probably trying to do a Wrath of Khan thing. Obviously, that one also copies from Wrath of Khan, so they were probably gonna. They figured they would have another movie, and they would take B4, and he would become Data again. He would find a backup of his memory and blah blah blah. Right.
Right.
That's how they were gonna paint themselves out of that.
Yes.
But yeah, you don't do that when you're already copying Wrath of Khan.
And it wasn't even, and it would have been something if they had brought in a villain that was a callback to the series like Wrath of Khan was. I mean, it would have been a cheap ripoff, but at least there would have been some continuity to a relationship between the two. Mm-hmm. That's something that I don't think, I'm trying to think of the movies, save for the Borg in First Contact, nothing about the Generations movies, or the Generation movies, did any meaningful callbacks to any of their established characters from the series. There's an entire library of things they could have revisited, aside from like Q or whatever. Actually, did Q ever show up in the movies?
No.
Yeah. Yeah. Of all the things they should have had show up in at least one of the movies, Q, for crying out loud. Q on a budget? Oh man, can you imagine? But all right, well, there's Nemesis. Yeah, and it left it on a cliffhanger that never got resolved. And I don't even think it got resolved all that effectively by the time they got to Picard when they brought Data back. So,
oh no, fuck that.
But of course I never watched Picard, so all right. Then
I've watched it, but
the
season 3 is good, but season 1 and 2
right.
So
yeah, they handed it
bad
off to
you would be better off watching Suburban Sasquatch than
Terry Metalis did everything that a fanboy was supposed to do, except he had to use the pieces of garbage as carryover from the first 2 seasons, because Picard is a robot now.
Well, it turns out if you just ignore it, it works better. Mm-hmm. So he pretty much just ignores everything from season 1 and 2.
All right. Well, then my number 10 is the first J.J. Abrams Star Trek movie. Your number 10 was Nemesis. So let's talk about the first JJ outing.
Oh, wait. I must have fucked something up here.
Uh-oh.
That was 10?
Well, my 11 was Nemesis. My 10 is the first Star Trek, the JJ Star Trek movie.
Okay. Because on 11, I had Star Trek to Star Trek, right?
Right.
That's where you had Nemesis.
Yes.
So now we're on 10. Okay. Good.
Yes. So my 10 is the first Star Trek movie, JJ.
Right. Okay. And on my 10 is Beyond.
Okay. Well, then we're kind of leapfrogging. But all right. So let's talk about the first JJ outing. When it was first advertised, I mean, before I knew anything else about it, because I didn't really know J.J. Abrams as a director that well at that point. I hadn't. Mm-hmm. I don't even think to the point I'd seen Star Trek that I'd seen Super 8.
Yeah,
so
I'd seen Super 8 too. I'd seen that. I don't know how much he directed in all his shows that he was involved with, but
like Alias and all that kind of stuff. Yeah,
I'd obviously seen his name a lot. But, it's hard to say how much involvement he had in all that stuff.
So when it was advertised, the most I knew was that it had the guy who had something to do with Cloverfield and Alias or something, and I never watched Alias, and I'd seen Cloverfield, and I didn't hate it, but I didn't think it was that exciting. And so it was like, ooh, new Star Trek, and they got a new cast and special effects, and it's like, oh my gosh. So first time I saw it, I thought it was immensely entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
Time afterwards thinking about it, I thought, some of that doesn't make any I mean, I realize it's Star Trek, but some of that doesn't make any sense.
There's a lot of stuff that doesn't make any sense. But
yeah.
I mostly agree. Like, the first time I saw it, I was like, okay, well, it's not really Star Trek, but I guess maybe they can take it in an interesting direction. Like, this was really stupid, but okay, it's better than nothing, I guess.
Yeah. One of the things, I know this is maybe a small thing. One of the things I didn't like about it is that, and I realize that this is a question that's answered in one of the earlier Shatner movies. Forget which one off the top of my head, but the whole Kobayashi Maru situation.
Right.
Like, seeing it happen takes the fun out of the myth of it.
Yeah.
And so I kind of didn't like that. I was like, I would have rather, like, they walk into the test and then he walks out and they went like, how the hell did you do that? And like, never knowing exactly how it went down. Just keep it part of the, oops, sorry, I get a text message here. It's my sister. Okay. Yeah, so there was that. But the casting was, the one part of the casting that I didn't think would work, but then I got completely used to, was Carl Urban as Bones. He did an amazing job as playing that character.
I liked him. He's always good.
All the casting was relatively good. I wasn't that jazzed about Simon Pegg. I thought he was kind of a...
I had never heard of that, what is he, Chris Pike?
Chris Pine? Yeah.
Chris Pine. Mm-hmm. I'd never heard of him before, so I had no idea what to expect with him. And I'm like, okay, he's a bit of a frat boy. He's not what I see when I think of Captain Kirk, but okay, I suppose he's a lot younger here than he was even in the original series.
Yes, technically. Actually, I don't know how old he was in comparison to Shatner when the series was on the air. I'm sure somebody in the chat knows.
Shatner is probably like 30, 35.
Was he?
Something like that.
Deadman, thank you so much for the smiling poop. Always a great commentary on the stream. Thank you so much, Deadman. Appreciate it for the smiling poop. And a couple more hellos in here that I see people. Jeremiah Himes, hello. Data's death was because Brett Spiner wanted the character to die since he couldn't get old. Well, obviously that rule didn't last very long because he came back again and again. Yeah. And Lesser Logic, good evening. Anybody else I see here real quick? Malachi D. Wildman, hello. And I think that's everybody that I see right now. Okay. But yeah, most of the casting was okay. It was obviously an action movie more than it was like a Star Trek movie. There wasn't. That
was a very common thing to say back then. Obviously, that he should have made a Star Wars movie, which turned out to be a huge disaster.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's usually what people said, like, it's not really a Star Trek movie, it's a Star Wars movie. And then he did a Star Wars movie.
Yeah, you see, Star Trek there needs to be some level of maturity to it. It can't just be boys and laser guns all the time. That's what kind of sets Star Trek apart from your Flash. I mean, it would have been better as a Flash Gordon movie than a Star Trek movie, but not a Star Wars movie. But he probably would still screw up Flash Gordon. There was almost no gravitas to anything that was being done. It was all very herky-jerky, reactionary action. And of course, it had that early sort of pre-Marvel inside joke, disarming humor all over the place that kind of made everything not quite serious enough.
Yeah.
And Spock was too human. I mean, seriously,
Sure.
how do you fuck up Spock with the amount of information you have on that character, and you're trying to at least, simulate that. You have to. The Kirk and Spock relationship does not work unless they are polar opposites in their mentality and their approaches to things. You can't have Spock getting the joke or going along with things or having wry humor all the time. Just doesn't work.
No, that was a weird characterization. I don't know. I didn't hate him, but yeah, he felt off.
No, Zachary Quinto did a good job with what he was given.
Sure.
He obviously had a great love for the character.
I mean, I had more problems with the logistics of the story. Like, they just shoot him out like in an escape pod, and he happens to drop on another planet in the Vulcan system.
Yeah.
And right by where Spock is. Like, okay, that's contrived as fuck. Come on, guys.
Yeah, and the time travel thing, creating the new... The red matter thing that the old Spock was taking along, and it was my first. This was before the Marvel-verse started doing multiverse stuff, and I understood using it as a plot device to reboot the series. I hated it though. I really did. It's just like, okay, and of course, the more that I found out about the rights issues that were fueling all of this between the sale of Paramount or whatever else, I learned all this from the Midnight's Edge guys over the course of time. By the way, guys, if you want to know all of the convoluted mess behind the scenes in the production studios and Paramount and Viacom and everything that led to what we got in the J.J. Abrams Star Trek that plagues us still today, there's a great playlist over on Midnight's Edge that talks about the history of the Star Trek franchise and all of the goofiness that happened. The 25% differential that was written into all the contracts and things.
Right.
But yeah, that started Star Trek down a path of ruin for the last 20 years practically.
Yeah.
Which is kind of why I don't like that movie even more now than I did back then, because it represents something more terrible in the aggregate.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like it's a first step, and you didn't know where that step was going, but now we know it went straight to hell. That's where they were going.
Yeah, and it went straight to Into Darkness.
Yeah, and then on to Star Trek Discovery and
Discovery, Strange New Worlds, Prodigy, Section 31, Picard.
Oh my God, that Section 31 thing.
That was supposed to be a full series. That was not supposed to be just a movie, one-off. That was supposed to be a full Kurtzman Discovery type series. He was so into Section 31 as being a series, and they gave him table scraps.
That is.
I know.
That one's so bad. It's unbelievably embarrassing.
Yeah. I don't.
You'd be better off watching Suburban Sasquatch without the sound on.
Yeah. Well, the problem is the Kurtzman to this point has been a buried tick in the flesh of Paramount or Viacom or whoever else owns it at any particular time. And his contract is such that it would cost them more to get rid of him, classically speaking, than it would to just let him make stuff, which is just insane.
Yeah.
And Bad Robot has such a stranglehold over the franchise at this point because of all the past deals and less. Anyway, I could go on, but I'm only have a cursory trivia knowledge about this. You want to talk to Andre or Tom over at Midnight's Edge? They know it much better than I do. But so Star Trek, the first of the JJ verse, the Kelvin verse, has been That was my number 10. So then my number 9 was Star Trek Beyond.
Right. I guess that, to me, that one is the most of the new Trek that has the most developed story, I guess you could say.
It was the one that felt the most like an episode of a show.
Yeah,
because I
for
still
lots of stupidity in there. But
well, yeah, that's why it's pretty low on my list still.
It's kind of like they have Captain Kirk driving around motorcycles with some sort of weird glass forming around him. It reminds me of Nemesis when Picard is driving a dune buggy like he's fucking crazy.
What was your number 9?
My number 9 was Nemesis.
Okay, all right. So we're leapfrogging a little bit. I saw it once. It felt a little bit like if the JJ verse, and I realize that Jay didn't direct this one, but if the JJ verse had its own insurrection, this was it. It's like it's a sort of encapsulated episode. It felt the most like it could be a TV show, even though this cast was never part of a TV show, and it was kind of a one and done adventure ish.
Yeah, sure. It just had like very one dimensional bad guy. Oh my God, it's a guy who wants revenge again. Okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah. I just
really that's what you're going with. Okay.
Yeah. The more I look at my list now, the more I think like, the higher we get up, the more it's either the better ones are ones where they're dealing with some kind of more a plot that has more scope to it on a diplomatic level or some kind of intrigue level, or represents good episodes if they were just extended episodes.
Yeah.
But
and
yeah,
I don't think there is any universe where Beastie Boys is supposed to be in a Star Trek movie.
God, that's if there's one thing that yanks me out of a movie real quick, it's misplaced anachronism.
Yeah.
Right? So like if I'm watching Fallout and they're playing a 50s song, okay, that makes sense given the setting. Mm-hmm. But if you're watching Star Trek and they suddenly pull a song from the distant 20th century, hundreds of years in the past, like, no, come on. It just doesn't work. Stop it. Just stop it. That's like in the end of every episode of the new Alien Earth, they have to play some 90s rock song or something. Like, what are you doing? Why? Stop it. But yeah, anachronism will just make me roll my eyes.
And they did that in the first Star Trek to Star Trek as well.
Yes.
They had, I think it's the same song even.
It could be. I wouldn't be surprised.
It's also a Beastie Boys song, and I seem to remember that it is the same song, which is weird. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong on that, but either way.
Was it Sabotage? I think it was Sabotage.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the song. It's very sentimental to me, but it doesn't belong in a Star Trek movie.
No, especially not twice.
No.
But no, it doesn't belong in a Star Trek movie at all. In no universe.
Not unless they're traveling back in time, but that's a whole other issue.
Yeah.
All right, so Star Trek Beyond. So my 8, and again, I think we're going to probably start diverting here for quite a bit. My number 8 is Star Trek Generations.
That's my 8 too.
Oh, well, hey, I feel good. I feel good that we've been on a relatively even keel so far.
Yeah.
I was excited for this when it came out because I was a big Star Trek. I mean, I watched the very first episode of Star Trek Next Generation on TV with my dad back in 1987. And because I had, as a kid, I had been aware of Star Trek. I hadn't seen much of the original series at that point because they didn't really have it in reruns that I had access to, but the couple that I occasionally caught or the idea of it. And of course, I saw it parodied more as a kid. I saw I probably learned more about Star Trek through reading Mad Magazine than I did watching the show before Next Generation came out. Okay. Because it was a cultural icon that got sent up in like Mad Magazine and things more than I ever watched episodes of. So and I realized how important Star Trek was sort of culturally. So when Next Generation came out, I was like, oh boy. And I watched that show almost religiously from 87 onward. And so when there was now we're going to do movies. I'm like, oh boy, a movie.
Yeah.
And
I was pretty much the same. I mean, I didn't watch Sesame Street. I watched Star Trek. That's basically how it was. I never watched any kids shows. I just watched Star Trek when I was a kid.
Yeah, and so when the movie was going to come out, I was like, oh boy. And then of course they said, oh, well, William Shatner's like what? Huh? Kirk is going to be in this? Oh boy, a bridging movie? Oh yeah, great. And so I had seen some of the Star Trek movies before I saw Generations, of course. So I had some knowledge of Star Trek beyond the shows by the time the movie came out and after I'd seen Next Generation. But because they were still making classic Star Trek movies while Next Generation was on TV. Sure. So there was a crossover there. But yeah, so I saw this, and the first time I saw it in the theater, I was like, wow, that's really cool. Oh boy, you see, Data got emotions, and I thought, I don't like Data with emotions. Him not having emotions is part of the, what? No, okay.
Yeah,
and so now he's laughing.
He's just fucking creepy now.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, moving on. And then you had Malcolm McDowell show up, and of course Malcolm McDowell is always fun to watch no matter what he's doing. So him being this like insane supervillain is like, okay, but then the couple of things that threw me off was there's a physical afterlife that Kirk went to through the what do they call it? The Nexus.
Yeah.
And I know that, and I knew this was a problem then. People pointed out now, like nobody noticed or something in some videos I've seen. When I saw it in the theater, I thought, a rocket can't travel to the sun that fast.
Yes,
like
of course.
At the very end, I was like, they shoot the rocket up in the air, and it's like, was the sun just kind of like hanging over the plane like that they were standing on, like it's 20 feet up or something? Like, what the hell?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So that really threw me off, and I said, it's like it's going to destroy the sun.
It takes light 8 minutes to get to the sun.
Yeah, and even if you did blow up the sun, the ramifications for that would have... Yeah, no, anyway. So yeah, that part amongst a couple other things. But at the time, it was like, this is the only Star Trek Next Generation movie there is. So for what it was, I liked it until I thought about it more. Just like with so many other things.
Yeah, I guess so. I probably also enjoyed it the first time I saw it. It wasn't like a huge insult, but you know, the more you thought about it, like you say, and there were many things like I hate Kirk's death.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was cheap.
It's always been like a theme throughout the entire Kirk character that he knows that he won't die alone. That he will die alone, right?
Yeah.
And then he doesn't. So it's like, okay, did you forget that, or did you just say, oh, that was just something Kirk said?
And if he has to die, he shouldn't die with a stranger. Because let's be honest, Picard was an absolute stranger to this guy. They didn't know each other. He was dead long before Picard was alive. There was no emotional connection. They just had like, we're both captains of the Enterprise, and now we're going on an adventure. Like, oh man. Did you see that that fan film thing with like where they brought back or they resurrected Kirk for that sort of like scene where he finally, you know, comes to terms with Spock and everything that came out a couple of years ago now?
Yeah, I think so. Is that the one with it's like a 3D company, right? That's,
yeah, they did face replace on oh god, what's his name? The guy who
I forget.
Played Darth
I
Maul
think they make a 3D render, like Octane render or something, right?
Yeah,
they
took two actors and they put like almost perfect face replace on them for Kirk and then Spock, and then there was no dialogue in the whole thing. It was great. I mean, it had more emotion to it than most Star Trek stuff I've seen. That was like a fan response to trying to answer, to make up for that sort of like empty space that movie left with Kirk's death.
Yeah.
But yeah, Kirk's death was completely cheaped out. It didn't have the weight that it should have. I'm honestly surprised that if they handed Shatner, I'm sure there's a story behind this, but if they handed Shatner the script, did it say this is how Kirk died when he read it the first time and he was fine with that? 'Cause that seems...
I don't know how much integrity Shatner has towards the character. I'm not sure.
I don't
if
know
he-
either. I don't
mean,
either.
I don't know anything about Shatner privately, if he's the kind of guy who's going to read the script and go like, no, Kirk would never do that. Or if he's the kind of guy who's going to read the script and say, well, how much you're going to pay?
Yeah, that's true.
I have no idea.
How much of a steward for the character is he? I don't know.
Yeah.
I always like to think more of some celebrities than maybe they actually are. So
That's probably the way it is, yeah.
yeah.
So,
All right.
And, of course, Deanna Troi driving the fucking spaceship to the planet.
Yeah, I mean, I even when I saw the movie, I understood why they did that because I knew that they would want to bring in a new Enterprise model for things, so I got that. And of course, Red Letter Media always makes the joke of that statue that Picard just tosses aside when in the episode where it it was like the last one on the planet. It was like 1 million years old. It's a piece of it, and he just tosses it off his desk. And it's just and they always put that crashing bass sound in there whenever he does that.
Yep.
Oh man, that's terrible. Why even put that prop in there? But
it sort of had the same problem that Into Darkness had, that there were too many bad guys. I don't know what the Duras sisters were doing in there. Like,
real quick over on the chat machine, there's a Keeverdam. Hello, Keeverdam. Good evening. And Joe McLaughlin, Sam Witwer, that's who it was. Yeah, I have his face in my mind. I forget his name all the time. He's Darth Maul. He's the Secret Apprentice. He's I think he was on that that vampire werewolf TV show that I never watched, whatever it was called.
What was that in relation to?
Oh, Sam Witwer was the body double for Kirk in the fan film.
Oh,
so he was the guy that was acting as Kirk's body double, and they used the
right.
Put the face on him. Let's see. Moving on. So my number 7. Okay, guys. The higher we go on the list, I keep thinking I'm going to be completely diverting from Undoomed's tastes here. So let's find out. My number 7 is The Final Frontier.
That's my number 7 too.
Oh my gosh! What? I need to go to Vegas or buy some lottery tickets or something. Okay, so I have a lot of sentimental love for this movie, mainly because of the last 20 minutes or so.
Okay.
Because the whole thing with finding God at the end.
Mm-hmm.
That whole deal where, like, you know, Kirk is like, excuse me, what does God need with a starship?
Right.
that whole
classic
thing.
Line.
Classic line. It's perfect humor. It completely disarms the grandeur of the situation with a little bit of logic, which was great. Although I can't remember. I kind of wish Spock had been the one to say it in a way, because of all the people that should have been thinking about that outside of an emotional place. It should have been Spock.
I guess.
But Kirk saying it and just the way Shatner delivered is just perfect. And then
that's a classic.
Sarek, that's the name of the brother, right? Sarek.
Or
is that Spock's father?
No, that's Spock's father.
Right.
Yeah. What's his name?
Oh, dang it! God, what is it?
I forget as well.
Yeah, it's something S, whatever. Star Trek: Final Frontier. Cybok.
Cybok. Right.
That's right. Cybok. Apparently Sean Connery was originally contracted to do the role.
Yeah, I've heard that too. Yeah.
Yeah, but he was doing Last Crusade. That would have been, man, can you imagine Sean Connery as a Vulcan? That would have been awesome.
Yeah.
But no, I mean,
I like Cybok. He was a good character.
Yeah, I didn't even know the guy's name.
actor,
Lawrence Luckinbill. Lawrence Luckinbill did a great job.
He did. Yeah. I had no problem with him. And
yeah, it was
for me the most memorable moment in the entire movie that I always remember is when Captain Kirk has his monologue about "I need my pain," right? Remember that? I can't remember exactly what he says, but "I need my pain. It's what makes me me, or whatever makes me feel alive, drives me." something like that.
Yeah.
Something to that effect. And
Yeah, he
that is
embraces his trauma. He's not trying to divest himself of it.
Yeah, that scene always hit me.
Which also, in a way,
even as a kid.
Yeah, in a way, though, that also kind of contradicts everything we saw in Generations, where he's basically in heaven and he has no problems and he's perfectly fine.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, but, continuity. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the contrast, and I'm reaching back in my memory here, but the contrast in relationship between Spock and his brother, who's obviously far more emotional than Spock, and has kind of embraced his emotions in defiance of Vulcan doctrine.
Right.
But it's one of those, like, the road to hell is paved with good intentions kind of deals.
Sure.
Where it's like, no, I know we can find it here. It's like, Shakari, whatever, we're going to find this place, we're going to find this utopia. And then it turns out to be one big con job.
Yeah.
And then he's the one, and that was the one thing I really liked about the characters. Like, he was, despite his having abandoned the Vulcan doctrine, as soon as he saw it was a con job, he didn't try to fight it. He didn't try to be in denial for longer than about 3 seconds until he saw that there was no other way out. And then he took responsibility and was the one to fight the thing and give everybody a chance to get off the planet.
Right.
So by the end of the day, it's like he was sort of the white rabbit to take us to the villain, but then he became ultimately the hero at the end when he sort of like said, okay, well, I'm going to put my ideals above my personal ego and just, take the L, as it were.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good character arc for him.
Mm-hmm.
So that was good. What was not good, which is like the ultimate fucking cringe, is Uhura doing a striptease.
Yeah, I was just about to bring that up.
Erase that thing from memory. Erase it from the fucking DVD.
Weird. It's again, you have these characters where you don't know what to do with them, like a Deanna Troi, like a Beverly Crusher. They're there. You have to give them something to do, and of all the things they could think of for Uhura to do, that. You see, and they kind of touched on this later on. Actually, they did a better job of it, I thought, in Enterprise with the character of Hoshi, where she was basically the Uhura, in function at least, because she was the communications officer, was to have the dynamic of language be a plot point and a point that could be used for drama or humor, depending. And so if you made Uhura a polyglot and she could speak, Vulcan or Klingon or whatever the situation might have occurred in order to try to throw people off or do something, that would have made more sense. But instead, no, they have her do a feather dance.
That reminds me that in the Undiscovered Country, she cannot speak Klingon, but in the J.J. Abrams version, she can speak.
Yes.
Klingon,
they actually at least leveraged that a little bit better. Yeah, that's what they should have done. But oh well.
Yeah, but it was already established that she couldn't. So it's like,
yeah, what are you gonna do? Well, it's a different continuity on Doomed. She learned Klingon in that version of the history. Just because Kirk's father died, Uhura learned Klingon. Don't you get it?
Yeah, butterfly.
Yeah, see, it's the ripple effect. It's the ripple effect on Doomed. It's the butterfly effect. Butterfly.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I have a sentimental liking to that, because that was the movie. That was the one movie that I kept randomly happening upon when it was like replaying on TBS or something. And I always seem to end up just near the end where they're doing that whole scene. I just love that scene in particular. But
yeah, everything. I don't dislike that movie at all as much as most people seem to. It's just the Uhura scene. Like, fuck.
Yeah.
If you could just cut that out, it's stupid on so many levels. If you could just cut that out, it's fine.
Yeah, it had a good amount of both philosophy and exploration that made it better than all the ones prior to it, of course. So it felt more Star Trek than a lot of the other movies. But it just kind of fell flat in places, so it didn't make it too epic compared to the others.
Yeah.
All right, so next, I keep thinking we're going to have some major... This has got to be it. I keep thinking, now we're going to majorly diverge. Okay, my number 6 might be controversial. I don't know. My number 6, The Search for Spock.
Yeah, it's my number 6 too.
What? Oh, this is... Okay, you know what? At this point, I realize we had one deviation so far, but the fact that we've been on the same page so much, I got... Okay.
Well,
So-
I mean, I guess it's worth pointing out that we don't know each other's picks, and
No.
we have no
No.
idea. We did this privately.
No, Undoomed sent me the list of films in chronological order, and then I just took them and into a notepad and just started ordering them as I felt about them into a 1 through 13 list. So yeah, we don't have any idea what either of us thought about this. So Search for Spock. Okay. Like you said before, you're resurrecting a character that you killed off, but it's kind of in the title. The journey was the part that was good, not necessarily what it was ultimately ending up with.
We all know what's going to happen, obviously, with the title.
Mm-hmm.
And it's obviously not the best Star Trek movie, but it's fine. I have no huge qualms with it. There's no horror stripping.
No.
And okay, so one thing that I don't like is Christopher Lloyd's portrayal, as he does.
Okay,
not,
yeah.
he does not fit as Klingon.
No, and by the time that I saw this movie, of course, he was firmly in my mind as Doc Brown.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know which came out first, Star Trek 3 or Back to the Future. I know it has to be Star Trek 3 because Back to the Future is 85.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, so I think I didn't see Star Trek 3 until it was on TV or something. Mm-hmm. And so by that point, my mind was... and of course, I had seen Taxi with my parents prior. So my idea of Christopher Lloyd was... I couldn't take him seriously, first and foremost, just because he was there.
Yeah.
And secondly, his performance was... Yeah, he's just not... Christopher Lloyd's just not intimidating like that. And until he... Well, except... Okay, Judge Doom. I'll give you Judge Doom. But in that role in particular, in that makeup, he just didn't work.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, Judge Doom from Roger Rabbit?
Oh.
He's the villain in Roger Rabbit.
Oh.
He was great.
Okay.
He was great in Roger Rabbit, but of course that worked because he's also a human cartoon, so that also helps quite a bit.
Sure, and it's in his wheelhouse. It is a
Yes.
comedy.
Yeah. But
so that's, I don't know. But yeah, I wasn't too impressed with him as the bad guy, but it works, I guess. But I would have liked to have seen someone more menacing as a Klingon.
yeah, but I don't know if the villain... I guess to its credit, the villain really wasn't the obstacle here. It was getting too... Well, I guess you could have put anybody in there. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm trying to remember.
He's not... It's not a super important role, but...
Yeah, he's forgettable, which is kind of the problem,
he's
too.
just a generic bad guy.
Yeah.
And he acts a little bit weird. He's very self-destructive, and he's a Klingon, so he's got nothing against dying, but still, come on.
Something else that I never really worked for me, and I know this wasn't the first movie that he was in, but Kirk's son.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought that he was a necessary element at all in either a Wrath of Khan or this movie. I just thought, why does Kirk need to have a son?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I guess it was just in Wrath of Khan, it was just a way to add a little drama, I guess.
Yeah.
They obviously didn't think about it more than that in that movie, and then in the next movie, it carries over directly.
Mm-hmm.
So then he has to be there, I guess.
Yeah, I think I'm happy to be corrected, but I think between Wrath of Khan, I think Search for Spock is the only movie in the series that is a direct continuation from a previous film. Everything else is mostly a bottle episode, isn't it?
No. the Voyage Home is a direct continuation from The Search for Spock.
Is it?
Yeah, they even start off in the same ship.
Oh, I don't.
That's why they have a Klingon bird of prey.
Oh, okay.
So they haven't even switched ships.
Well, then I'm mistaken because it's been a long time. All right. Well, my number 5. We have to divert here. There's no way we can. I keep thinking, but every time I say that, okay. My number 5, First Contact.
Yeah, that's my number 5.
Oh, jeez, Louise. Okay. Well, we're running out of options here. Okay, so First Contact. Save for the fact that turning Picard once again into an action hero makes no sense. And him going absolutely batshit when what's her name from Earth is like criticizing him for being Ahab.
Yeah, Lily.
Yeah, when Lily criticizes him for Ahab's got to find his whale, and he freaks out. He's like, no, and he crashes everything, and it's just crazy. It's just like the line must be drawn here. That whole thing is just it's great. It's terrible. I mean, it's not in
silly.
character, but it's great.
It's silly, and yeah, it's still very memeable and fun.
Yes.
He's not the same character in First Contact as he is in TNG at all.
No.
He's just totally emotional, and Captain Picard is known from TNG to be this really cool, level-headed guy.
Stoic, thoughtful, strategic, and this he's not that person.
He's just ruled by his emotion 100%. Fuck everything.
Yeah.
Fuck that fucking glass. I'm gonna shove my big fucking space bazooka in it.
But so for those of you, I know we haven't been giving the plot synopses or anything, but this is the one that I'm most familiar with, at least so far on the list. The Borg go back in time and take over Earth, and then the Enterprise has to follow them back in time to stop them from taking over Earth. Mm-hmm. And they contrive a reason for Worf to show up from Deep Space Nine to go along with them. Also, an appearance by Robert Picardo as the emergency medical hologram.
Sure.
Do you know the story behind how he ended up on that movie?
No, not that I can recall.
Okay, I just saw this the other day, and I'm sure. Trust me, if you look it up on YouTube, it's something like how Robert Picardo conned his way into a movie or something. Mm-hmm. So he was doing Voyager as the emergency medical hologram, and he heard that they were having a new Star Trek movie coming up, mm-hmm. and he was sitting there it was one of the producers, and they were talking about something else, or they were just like having lunch or something, and he said, you know what I find odd? And I'm like, what? Well, Voyager's got this emergency medical hologram. Why doesn't the flagship of the fleet have one? And the guy's like, oh, you mean just any? Like, well, I mean, he's like, do you think it would look the same? And it's like, well, why would it look the same? It's the same software and everything else, right? I'm like, mm-hmm. That's an interesting idea. And so time goes on, and eventually he's sitting down with like Ron Moore, or is that his name? The guy that did.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's talking to him about something else or whatever, and he's like, hey, and he says, isn't it weird how the flagship doesn't have he did this to like 3 or 4 different people involved with the production, just randomly at different places at different times. And then each person, he says, just said, that's an interesting idea. And then one day he gets a call saying, hey, we've got this, we wrote in this part for the emergency medical hologram. You think you might want to do it? He's like, that's an interesting idea. He just like planted the seeds all over the place, just mildly, with a bunch of the different main people involved in the production of the film, and just got a paying role. So good for Robert Picardo.
Yeah, the shortest role ever.
Yeah, shortest role ever, but still, a paycheck is a paycheck.
Yeah. What is it he says? Borg implants can cause skin irritation. Would you like an analgesic cream?
An analgesic cream. Yeah, that was the thing. This, for all of its silliness with Picard, it was a really fun movie to be in the theater to watch. The humor was good. The writing was good. The action, even though seeing, Patrick Stewart try to be, Bruce Willis in places didn't make a whole lot of sense. That was still really fun. What's his name that played Cochrane? He was a hoot.
Yeah, George Cromwell.
James Cromwell. Yeah,
James.
yeah. That'll do, pig. That'll do. Yeah, he was great.
Yeah, he was awesome. He was perfect in that role.
Yeah, the whole idea that they have to they were doing sort of a. I kept likening.
He's just so funny when he's like got this sarcastic edge to him, and he's like, these people are telling him about Zephram Cochrane High School and shit, and he's
right.
Like, he's just got this fake smile on. He's like, I gotta go take a leak.
Right, yeah. It's like, excuse me, I just got everybody. It's the hero worship thing. It's like meeting your heroes or a legend versus reality kind of deal. That was kind of fun.
Yeah.
Now, when Zephram Cochrane plays Magic Carpet Ride on their first flight, that felt okay. Cockring? No. Zephram Cochrane. No. But the only thing that really bugged me about that character was his hat. The metal ring hat. I never, that looked like bad 1980s were trying to set a movie in a post-apocalyptic future fashion. That looked so silly to me.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
Oh well, que sera, small thing.
Yeah.
But the Borg were decidedly more menacing, more monstrous in this one, which was kind of neat.
For sure.
The Borg Queen. Now, Alice Krieg is always creepy. It doesn't even when she's playing like a good character, a positive character. She's always has that weird voice and bearing about her that's just very severe.
Yeah, she was perfectly cast.
She was perfectly cast. To this day, I'm still not quite sure if I like the idea of a Borg Queen because it's supposed to be a collective.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. But it
doesn't make any sense.
In the movie, it's enjoyable.
Yes.
But yeah, it doesn't make any sense. It does take away from the Borg. It makes them less scary if they have this fucking queen. Like, okay.
Right. Yeah, because if you have that sort of like, oh, if we kill that one thing, then all the drones die, then there's no existential threat to it. It's just like now you have a target, you take out that one thing and everything falls apart. Like that. If you have a villain with that kind of Achilles heel, you can't make it an army. It has to be an individual. It just doesn't work otherwise. So, but no, I mean the writing was great. All the characters acted for the most part, save for Picard. I mean, that's the weird thing. Every other character in the group was effectively their TV version, save for Picard. Picard was suddenly now this angry, emotionally driven action hero, which, and again, I suppose if you can't figure out how to write Picard correctly and have it be an action movie, does it need to be an action movie? Can't you solve things with brains rather than brawn? I don't know. That's one of the things that always bugged me about the Next Generation films in general, was their lack of creativity in finding a way to make a Star Trek movie without having it come down to a gunfight.
Yeah, that's true. But it is what it is. It didn't bother me when I saw it in the first time, but
yeah.
It is weird, but yeah, at least Deanna Troi got to do something. This movie,
yeah, vaguely.
She got to get drunk.
Yeah, she got to do something.
She was more effective being flat out drunk than she's ever been in the entire series.
Yeah, but
that was good. So, what do you think about the new Enterprise?
Oh, the ship itself.
Yeah.
Oh,
Enterprise E.
I have to remind myself what it looked like, because I'm always more visual on these things. All right. Okay. I mean, on a design level, it's definitely, it has all the elements that remind you of the D, the big D. I've never really been so sure about the 1950s tail fin kind of severity to the nacelles. if that makes any sense. But I guess if you just stretch it out a bit, I don't know. It's not terrible. It's not terrible.
I just love it, actually.
Yeah.
I think it's the most beautiful Enterprise they've ever done. I mean, obviously the Enterprise A from the movies with Kirk, they have so much nostalgia, and
Yes.
The D, she wants the D.
The D.
The D it's got so much familiarity. You've seen it so many times, so there's another kind of nostalgia to that. But objectively, I think the Enterprise E is the most beautiful one of them.
I don't disagree, but
So that's something I'll
part of
give
me
to
just
that
thinks
movie.
that it. You know what I always like about the Enterprise D is that
Did
almost entirely
my
didn't have any.
audio die, or?
No, huh? Can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me? Uh-oh. Are we now being plagued with what we had before? Okay, guys, if can you guys in the chat still hear me?
Hello?
Uh-oh. Can you hear me? Hello? Oh, no. I can hear him.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can hear you now.
You can hear me? Okay. Guys in the
went dead
chat, can
there
you hear
for
us
a while.
both? Okay. So, yeah, something's... Okay. I touched nothing. I did nothing. StreamYard or something is going goofy tonight, guys. All right. So you can hear us both now? You can hear me, Undoomed? Or he died again. Oh, no. Okay, guys. Something's going goofy.
Wait,
Yes.
let's see here. Hold on.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Can you hear
now.
me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me? Uh-oh. I can hear Undoomed. He can't hear me.
Okay, I can only hear you through the. I can only hear you through the actual the stream window from YouTube. So it's like 10 seconds lag. So I'm gonna just hop out and hop back in and see if it's on my end.
Okay. I'll wait here. Oh boy, guys. Technical difficulties, live TV. Yeah, this is what was happening a little bit on the previous stream, is that I could see the little green light moving on StreamYard, so I knew that, or I thought that I was coming through. And on his end, he could see his green light and everything and the little circle moving around his avatar, so he thought that he was coming through, but neither of us could hear each other. And then, of course, when I went live to test it, nobody could hear anybody. So I'm blaming StreamYard. So good. You guys can hear me now. All right. So we're waiting for Undoomed to come back. Hopefully his rebooting or whatever will clear it up. In the meantime, I'll Joe McLaughlin, we can hear you. Lesser Logic, good evening. You can hear me. Asan. Okay, Undoomed's back. Let's see. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Can you hear me? I can hear you. He can't hear me. Great. What is going on?
Hold on.
Okay. I mean, StreamYard's not like resetting your headphones every time you move or something. I hope.
Okay, how about now?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay. All right. We're back, guys. We're back.
All right.
Until it craps out again or whatever happened. I was saying
where were we?
that the one thing that I kind of wish they'd kept between the Enterprise D and the Enterprise E, the fact that D had almost no straight lines.
Mm-hmm.
I liked the fact that it was curved in places, and then they went straight back to a very linear design, which isn't bad. I'm not saying it's bad, but as far as design philosophy, I wish they'd integrated the classic with the next generation a little bit more. I guess that's all I would have said about it.
Well, you know, I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
It was just such a beautiful design, and it looked really like a flagship should, in my opinion.
Sure.
It was really menacing.
But should the Federation ships look menacing?
Well, if you're going to build a flagship, sure, I think it should. You're going to.
Okay.
That's not a little exploration vessel. That's something you put on ship out to the Romulan border to show the flag.
All right. Well, let's see. Okay. Once again, I figure we're probably going to diverge. You never know. Okay, here we go. My number 4 is The Undiscovered Country.
Number 4. My number 4 is The Voyage Home.
Oh, okay. Well, we definitely diverge there.
Mm-hmm.
So Undiscovered Country, I really liked it because it dealt with galactic politics in a way that you hadn't really seen in previous movies and really felt very Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
And the villain played by Christopher Plummer was just amazing. Even though he was the weirdest looking Klingon ever.
I wonder what the story is behind that. I mean, did he just refuse? Like,
there was.
That. I'm not putting on a wig, you assholes.
Yeah, no, I recall there was some kind of story behind what he wanted to look like or what he was willing to do. But yeah, he looked like the runt of the Klingon litter or something.
Mm-hmm.
But Christopher Plummer did such a great performance and literally made it very Shakespearean with his quotes and such.
Right.
I just remember it was like a really good story about politics. And I'm saying this very sketchily because honestly, I've only seen it twice, and the last time I saw it was a million years ago. So I'm just calling back to what little I can remember about it.
Right. But I mean, the basic premise of the story was that they wanted to do the Berlin Wall coming down in space.
Mm-hmm.
Because that had just happened. So they were like, oh my God, we got to do a Klingon story with that. And that's what they came up with. Obviously, the Praxis moon exploding, which is their key energy production facility, is meant to parallel Chernobyl.
Mm-hmm.
And they drew a lot of inspiration from that. So that was pretty smart. And I don't know, I think it was a smart move to switch from Savick to Valeris.
Okay.
Because
remind people who Valeris is versus Savick.
Savick was the protege of Spock in what is it? Search for Spock and Wrath of Khan. I think she's in there too, right?
I think so.
And she was originally supposed to be in the Undiscovered Country, and they figured it's a little weird that she would betray everyone.
Yeah.
Spock's protege and shit. And many people pointed this out, that she has this sort of weird look when they first head out into space.
Yeah, apparently Gene Roddenberry himself objected to the idea of having Savick be the character because he was like, no, you can't turn her into a villain.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
Well, he was right about that.
Yeah. And
he was usually not right when it came to the movies, but that time he was.
Yeah, and apparently Cattrall, I'm reading the trivia here, Cattrall was unwilling to be the third actress to play Savick, but accepted the role when it became a different character.
Right.
So she didn't want to play third fiddle to an existing character anyway, so.
Right.
So.
Yeah, that was smart. Other than that, yeah, it's a great adventure with politics. It's got a little bit of everything.
Yeah, from what I recall, my impressions of it from so long ago was that it had all the right elements that you want from a Star Trek story.
Mm-hmm.
The right balance of everything.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's why it's...
great to see, like, a Klingon trial.
Right, yeah. And, you know, he'd seen those, or would see those at that point. I think we'd seen Klingon trials and things like that in Next Generation with Picard and such by then. By whatever season. Well, Undiscovered Country was 91. Next Generation started in 87. So they'd had, I think by then we'd had, and besides, a Worf, ancestor of Worf appears in this movie, which I thought was an interesting sort of like connection. I didn't really realize it at the time that I saw the movie that that's who that was supposed to be, but I did recognize Michael Dorn, so I made more sense later on.
Yeah. That was a fun little detail.
Yeah, and then of course Brock Peters is in it as Admiral Cartwright. In this instance, he would eventually become the father of Benjamin Sisko in Deep Space Nine.
Yeah.
Renee
And Odo's in there too.
Yes, Renee Auberjonois, or how do you say his last name? He played a colonel, and yeah, he would later play Odo in Deep Space Nine. So a lot of carries over there, which is neat.
Yeah.
But all right, well then we're going to diverge again, I'm sure, because my number 3, and I know this is going to be controversial to some people. My number 3 is the motion picture.
Right. Well, my number 3 is The Undiscovered Country.
Oh, okay. I know the motion picture is beloved, and I'm not getting against anybody who loves it because I think there's a lot of great things about it. It's just visually, I can't get out of my mind how visual a departure it is from the original series and some of the conventions thereof. That I remember the first time that I saw it, it didn't make sense to me that this was a Star Trek film because all the costumes were different and everything didn't feel right, and it looked very like I guess it was the difference between what I'd gotten used to watching Star Wars, where you have this very used universe and everything feels practical even though it's in a sci-fi setting, and then you see Star Trek the motion picture and it kind of reeks of 70s designs, if that makes sense. And I realize this is all aesthetics, and I'm not talking about the plot or the acting or the storyline or anything else, which I still think is a really great story, and it was very Star Trek. But at the same time, watching a movie is half a visual experience, and it always distracted me. But so that's my only sort of overarching criticism of it, and that it felt out of place in a way.
I'm going to disagree with you on that.
Okay.
Because I think that Star Trek the Motion Picture actually is closer to the original series than what they got later.
Okay.
Later, obviously, we got Nicholas Meyer. He came in and directed
Wrath of Khan.
Wrath of Khan and that stuff. And he wanted them to be, straight up naval officers. He figured this is Hornblower in space. They're going to have naval uniforms, and they got these really strict wool uniforms with a collar and everything. And in the motion picture, they still feel like they're in the original series with their kind of pajamas they're wearing, just like they did in the original series. Sure, they got a 70s color scheme to them with they got the beige and the browns. That's all they have, basically.
Yeah.
But it's still closer, I guess, to me.
It just felt boring. It just felt bland, a little bit too sterile, maybe. I don't know.
You could make that argument, I guess. I just felt that was probably closer.
Yeah.
And I do love the new uniforms, too. They're also great, but this is great in another way, I guess. And I think it connects very well with the original series.
Okay. Yeah, I always liked the revelation of Veacher. I remember when I was a kid and I didn't know I'd like this. And guys, there was a time before the internet where you already knew everything that happened in the movie before you saw it. Yeah, when I was old enough to see it, because I didn't see it until I was 10 or 11 or something. And so when that came out, my grandfather worked for NASA.
I don't know what kind of rating these movies have.
I think motion pictures PG.
Right.
I'd be surprised if it was anything more than that. It wasn't very explicit, but
it must have been in my teens almost.
Well, it came out the year I was born, so it was a little while before I got to see it.
Right.
But yeah, my grandfather was in NASA. I had a whole bunch of NASA lore in my mind because he worked on Apollo 11, and so I had some notion of the space program and all that stuff when I was a kid. And so when they get to the center of the thing, and it's like Voyager, and then again, I saw it on TV at this point. I didn't see it in the theater, so it was my first experience. But it hadn't been spoiled for me at that point, and I was like, oh, what? And it took my little mind a while to figure out, like, how does that work? And then the characters start talking, like, oh, yeah, weird. Weird. And then it just disappears, and they never mention it again. I'm like, wait a second. There is a piece of human technology that gathered up a whole gigantic island of alien technology and then merged with human beings and then disappeared into another dimension. And then they never bring it up again in any other show, any other movie. Like, wait, can we stop? That was the one thing that always kind of threw me off going forward from that, because that is such an amazing, giant, like, revelation. Now, the one thing that in my older years I think about is, like, you couldn't have gotten away with that if that was the first outing of these characters to have something that enormous take place. But since this was the continuation from a long-running series of amazing things, they could get away with that. But at the same time, I thought, man, that is just that always boggled my mind afterwards. It's like, you just saw that happen, right? This thing that was going to effectively destroy Earth accidentally, but then it, like, becomes half human, cyborg, giant island cloud of technology, and then travels to another dimension or off into some other plane of existence, like, and then back to Khan. It's just like, seems like kind of a step down at that point. But anyway, moving on.
Yeah, but it was very interesting, and like Joel McLaughlin says here in the chat, there are many books on this subject. I think most of them are written by Shatner himself, about how V'ger was actually created by the Borg.
That was one of the theories I heard later, that they retconned that into maybe being a Borg thing. Also, just like the God character in Voyage Home was retconned into being a prisoner of the Q, or a rogue Q, or something like that. They tried to make everything fit together in some way.
Right.
Or that Trelane was a Q, he was just like a child Q, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, something like that. But those books are great, by the way. I have no idea if Shatner writes these himself, or he's got a ghostwriter or whatever, but those books are awesome.
Yeah, I've heard from people who are, like I say, bigger fans than me, that a lot of the novels outdo a lot what they end up with in either the TV shows or the movies. And that they kind of wish, why can't you just take the novel and turn that into a movie? You own the rights. Why not do that? Apparently not.
Yeah.
But no, as a special effects icon, the whole V'ger entry sequence, to this day, I look at that, I'm just thinking, how did they, I mean, there are documentaries that explain how they do it now, but at the time I was just floored, like, how did they do that? How did they make that happen?
Yeah.
I was always kind of confused by the what's her name, the bald chick, how she was dead and then resurrected as basically a robot, but the guy still fell in love with her. That's
a little weird.
That always felt a little bit like that was a bridge I had a hard time crossing, because it's like, okay, well, you've as far as I understood it, the actual lady is dead, like, she's gone, and this is just a artificial replicant, but yet he's projecting his previous emotions from this lady onto this thing, and now it's got her memories, and I don't know. It was a bit too much.
How humans love to anthropomorphize.
There you go. This. But I understand that.
Guess that's what he did.
Yeah, it was. I understand that thematically was trying to talk about that whole human machine to machine. It was kind of this bridging, holy trinity of, like, what does it mean to be human? Voyager seeking its creator. You've got an avatar for it that's trying to understand humanity, etc. So, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Got kind of old when she walking around talking about carbon units, though.
Yeah, that carbon. She sounded like one of the cone heads or something. All right.
Well, now right into Galaxy Quest.
There you. Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, that would work for Galaxy Quest. And man, if only we'd ever gotten a sequel to that one. All right. Anyway,
When did this come out? You said it was 79?
79. Yep.
No. I saw this one late.
All right. So my number 2 is Wrath of Khan.
Yeah, that's my number 2.
Yep. I mean, several things I mentioned previously. It felt like a glorious episode of the TV show. It brought back an original or a historical character from the show to follow up on a plot line they actually left hanging in the series, which was, which is a great idea. And I love the movie more now, knowing what I do about its creation, because Nicholas Meyer, who directed it, knew practically nothing about Star Trek when he took on the job, but he forced himself to become a fan for the sake of the project by watching as much as he could. Now, think about that kind of mentality applied to anything coming out these days from Hollywood when it comes to any kind of established IP. Marvel, any other thing you can think of, they're practically told not to look at the source material. They're making our own thing because we don't have to pay anybody else royalties, so we have to make it as different as possible. And so you get crap like what Marvel's been putting out for the last 10 years practically, and DC and otherwise.
Right.
But Nicholas Meyer is like, no, I have to learn this stuff in order to do this right. And he watched all the Star Trek he could get his hands on, and then he helped direct, and I think he helped write the movie, didn't he?
Back then, that must have been a pain in the ass. I mean, did they even have VHS? Did he have to put up a projector?
Oh, he probably had to go solicit Desilu for original tapes or something. It's just like, what are you going to do? Yeah. But he made sure that he knew those characters and he knew the dynamic, and he just immersed himself in that stuff for the sake of the project. And good on him, because what did he end up doing by doing that? He made one of the most memorable and beloved Star Trek movies of all time. And it's a real shame that kind of dedication and philosophy has fallen upon deaf ears in the last 20 years. It just...
Yeah, it's probably like you say, they want the people to not watch the previous stuff just to subvert audience expectations.
Subvert expectations, except that the audience that you want watching this are the people that made it memorable in the first place, so give them what they want. How that makes any sense, it never has. But anyway, so you got a great hero, you got a great antagonist, you got a great setup. It's an established revenge motive on Khan's part. Mm-hmm. He's been marooned on this planet ever since the first TV series.
80s, so this wasn't so. It hasn't been used that many times before, so it was fine.
But at least it was pre-established. It wasn't something that came out of the ether. They didn't make up a villain and then manufacture a conflict between these guys. They existed.
Yeah. That's
and then you had
kind of the bad thing about Star Trek to Star Trek. It's just, there's some fucking Romulan guy that speaks like a college bro. Yeah. And he wants revenge because Spock did something. What?
Right.
Shut the fuck up. But this is a, like you say, this comes from the Space Seed, that episode in the original series. Mm-hmm. And, of course, Kirk defeated him much easier in this TV series by hitting him in the head with a iron rod.
Yes. So Khan had something to make up for. And you also had this, just the acting chops and gravitas of Ricardo Montalban and Shatner on the opposite end of the thing. It's so good. And I always, and I know I'm not the first person to say this, but the space battle that they have always reminded me of a good submarine movie, because they're stalking each other through the nebula and the stars and everything.
Oh yeah,
and waiting for the right moment, and it's just, and the tension is so good, and it doesn't need J.J. Abrams laser beams going all over the place and things blowing up. It just had two characters and the avatars through their ships just out to get each other, and Kirk's anger towards this guy is so raw and so I mean, in that, the whole Khan thing now is obviously, a joke, a meme. But at the time, it really had some impact, before it became a joke. It really felt earned by the time you get to that point.
Sure.
So, yeah, it was great.
Yeah, it was. And it's interesting how they weave this Moby Dick thing into it.
Yes.
They have all these quotes, and obviously they're both each other's white whale.
Yeah, after a fashion at that point, yeah, because Khan wants revenge for his abandonment, and of course Kirk wants revenge for. I'm suddenly my mind's blanking. What was their name?
Well, I mean, probably for just murdering a gazillion people or whatever.
Yeah, that too.
But that worked out nicely. Things like that are pretty commonplace now. When a writer has got his writer's block, he'll just pick up some fancy book and do some quotes. But that was new back then, right?
Yeah, and Myers treated the material with respect. It didn't feel like it was a parody. They weren't making a whole bunch of inside jokes at their own expense or anything. It felt like, because I mean, he'd basically marinated himself in the original series up to that point.
Yeah.
And so he made sure he knew how these characters were supposed to interact and what the level of humor versus drama was supposed to be. So yeah, it's great. It felt like it was a real good continuation, and really great conflict, really great characters and performances, and that earworm thing. When I was a kid, oh my God.
That was great. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, exactly. It was great because it grossed me out. It was like, oh, it's got a brain worm. Ew.
That was a great piece of special effects for, what was it, 81?
82.
82?
Yeah.
Wow, that was great.
Yeah.
I wonder
And
who did that. Like
somebody in the chat says, wasn't Wrath the first time they really showed 3D space flight of the two ships? Could be.
What do you mean 3D space flight?
Like they weren't the ships weren't traveling on a singular plane one to another, that there was some, cross.
Yeah, I mean, Kirk at one point says Z minus 300 meters or something.
Yeah.
To sort of, and Spock, after Spock points out that, he's showing tendencies of two-dimensional thinking. I'm just thinking there is this episode called Balance of Power, I think, in TOS, where they also have a very submarine-ish kind of fight between a Romulan and Kirk. I don't remember if they referenced any 3D movements in there. That would have been the time to do it, since that was clearly submarine-inspired.
I don't know if they had I don't know if they had the technology or the wherewithal back in the original series to film 3D space battles. So
well, no,
in
the TV series, the visual effects were pathetic, of course. But
yes,
I like I said, in my head, it seems like the perfect time that they should have at least mentioned it by a line or something like. But I'm not sure if they had any three-dimensional thinking in that episode.
All right, and now my number one, last of a bunch, The Voyage Home.
Right.
What was your number one?
My number one is Star Trek The Motion Picture.
Okay. Reason I put Voyage Home in number one is it has the most, this is mostly sentimentally based. I remember watching this with my parents, and they were laughing so much and enjoying it so much that all of my memories of that film are infused with happiness outside of the movie itself. Plus the fact that I always found it the most overall entertaining. And it felt like a good episode if it was going to be an episode of a TV show.
Right.
And the fish out of water moments and things got kind of silly in places, but were also like great. Like when Scotty is trying to make, transparent aluminum and he talks into the mouse. He's like, hello, computer. A computer. Oh, he's like, and it's like, no, use the keyboard. Like, a keyboard. How quaint. And he like cracks his knuckles and just like, and all of a sudden it's like... and like Spock putting the Vulcan neck pinch on the punk rocker guy. There's all these little like memorable moments, and the premise was like so goofy. It's like we have to save the whales. There's just something so charming about everything in that movie, and the chemistry between Kirk and the female lead, whose name I can never remember, but she always plays a mom in most things that I ever remember her in. It was really good. It worked. It was all very.
I don't remember her name either, but yeah, she was good.
I can look it up. But it was a very pleasent movie. I just remember that being a nice, fun movie.
It's probably the most approachable, and I do love it. It's a great movie. It's got so many little things in there, and like Spock diving into the tank, swimming.
Yes, and mind melding with the whale. See, and this is
Rachel's pregnant.
Yeah, this is the thing. Like I say, this would be the number 2 on my list if it weren't for the sentimental feelings I have about it and everything else. Because every time I mention one of those things, I just think of my dad or my mom laughing or enjoying it, and so that kind of infuses. So yeah, this would be lower on the list if it weren't for that. I completely confess it is more sentimentally driven than like it. Is it a better movie Star Trek wise than Wrath of Khan? No. Is it a better representation of the universe of the characters than the motion picture? No, but it's just, for me, it's just so much fun.
Yeah, it is. I mean, holy shit, they have so much fun with every premise.
Yeah, and it gives, and to me, it always made, in comparison to other things, it made the characters ultimately more human and fleshed out to me, putting them in that fish out of water situation and seeing how they operate. Even though it's done for humor, everybody played it straight for the most part, because that's where the humor was, from the conflict between their, 23rd century sensibilities or whatever, and this like 20th century archaic stuff. And of course they end up on the Enterprise, which I thought was funny.
Yeah.
But it's also a time capsule for how San Francisco used to look compared to now. Just like, oh God. Oh, what a tragedy that is.
Yeah. No, it was good because everyone had something to do, and it was logical because they were the only ones there. They didn't have the Enterprise with 500 people on it. It was just them. So everyone had to do their share. Yeah. And that's why everyone has something to do, and it's logical that they do it because there's no one else.
Yeah.
So that's a very good part of the story. Like, you got Chekhov and Uhura going over to the Enterprise trying to steal photons or whatever. Yeah.
Oh yeah. No. Yeah. That was the thing. It's like, left to their own devices, how do they solve this problem without all the accessories of the future in this time, in this situation? And so everybody had something to do. Yeah. Go ahead.
I like the fact that the quote unquote bad guy is just a space sausage.
Yeah, like that was what it's like. The bad guy was almost completely irrelevant to the whole movie because the movie is them on the planet figuring things out, and like the threat was so abstract that it really didn't matter. But of course, another, sort of like V'ger disappearing into another dimension. It's like, do we have to bring this up ever again? Not really. It's fine.
I always wanted there to be subtitles when the whales finally talk to the space officer.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, hey, how you doing? Bro, what the fuck are you doing? The thing you're doing is boiling the oceans. Do you know we live in the ocean, asshole?
What's water? Oh, man.
It's so fucking weird.
Yeah, it's a ridiculous premise, but yet it's like that one episode of any particular series that just kind of takes a big breath, has some fun, doesn't take itself too seriously, and yet everybody's playing their characters as they would.
Kind of like Star Trek's Wormhole Extreme.
Sure.
If you know that from Stargate.
I don't, unfortunately.
Okay, that's like
I'll take your word for it.
Super silly episode of Stargate, which is so much fun.
Yeah, you got to have at least one moment of just overall cathartic humor, and I thought that in the grand scheme of things, after all the tragedy and seriousness that had happened between Wrath of Khan and the search for Spock, that was a nice exhale if you have to watch these in sort of order. It's like, okay, now we have a moment to breathe, to relax, to collect ourselves before we get back into the really heavy, serious stuff. So, yeah, I always liked Voyage Home.
Yeah. And they get the Enterprise back at the end.
Yes, yeah, exactly. You basically start off at the end where you began at the beginning, and nothing is harmed, I suppose. Nice little episodic sense to the whole deal.
Yeah, they're like they're on their way to get court-martialed, and they're like, never mind, you saved the Earth, whatever.
Yeah, you kind of saved everybody, so I guess that gives you a reprieve. Sort of, kind of like Armageddon. It's like, if we save the planet, we don't have to pay taxes again ever. That kind of stuff. But so that's the ranking. In large part, Undoomed and I were on the same page in many instances, which I was very surprised by. What do you think? Do you think there's a future in Star Trek movies anymore? Because we haven't had one since Beyond.
Yeah.
Everything's been a streaming series or a one-off super pilot like Section 31. Do we, let me put it this way, do we want any more Star Trek movies under the current regime?
No.
Yeah.
That's, I'm pretty sure that's a given, right? But, I mean, Picard Season 3 kind of was a TNG movie.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's not impossible for them to make something enjoyable. It's just in that instance, everything just aligned perfectly. I guess they were like, holy shit, everyone hates this shit. What do we do? Okay, just give it to this guy. And he turned out to be the right guy. He'd been working with Star Trek since, I don't know if he was on Enterprise. I don't know if he was even on earlier stuff, but he did work on Enterprise. So he had some genuine knowledge of Star Trek.
Yeah, and he had love for the franchise and the characters, which again is classically now antithetical to what these studios and these companies want in their product. There are two rumored dream projects that are supposedly thought about. One is called Star Trek Legacy. The other one's called Star Trek United. Have you heard of these?
I've heard of Legacy, and United I haven't heard of.
Yeah, Legacy is effectively sort of a continuation from Picard Season 3, where they bring back the old cast and continue adventures with those guys. Star Trek United is rumored, and it's been talked about. I have no idea how serious it is or otherwise, but it is the proposed idea that they do a new series as a continuation from Enterprise, bring back Scott Bakula, and show the creation of the United Federation of Planets from the perspective of Archer post-Enterprise, but now that he's the president of the Federation, or getting to become the president of the Federation. Which I'm like, if I magically remove Alex Kurtzman from having anything to do with either of these two ideas, on the one hand, Legacy might be interesting, save for the fact that the cast are now all dinosaurs, and continuing to take them seriously is anything other than in mentor roles in some fashion doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You'd have to supplement it with a younger cast in some way, shape, or form.
Sure.
And then the United idea might be interesting, save for the fact that I'm never... Deep Space Nine might be the exception just because of the way they set it up with the wormhole, but I'm never quite convinced by a Star Trek idea that puts, or at least implies, that most of the action is going to take place on a stationary location like Earth for, the Federation. Like, is Archer going to be traveling around being diplomat to all these planets, and that's how the series is going to go? Or I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's that, and that there's also the fact that Archer's kind of an asshole. Like, he's not a very likable character. Why would he become the president of the Federation? That's the only reason he would do that is because the scriptwriters made it so.
I mean, I'm reaching back on my memory because Enterprise kept feeling like it was not given enough of a chance. Things really started cooking in that last season. Like they finally seemed to find their footing. And I'm fine with a character that has some unlikable elements to them as long as the character's interesting.
Oh,
But,
for sure. I mean, I'm the biggest fan ever of Dr. House.
Yeah, sure, exactly.
But he was all written like a stupid person so many times.
Yeah, he had to be. I always felt like they kept having to undercut the character to make the other characters relevant in so many instances.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't want to have one character who's like a Mary Sue or a Gary Sue or something, who's all things to all people at all times. But you at least have to feel like they are competent in most things, especially if they're going to be like the captain and so on. And yeah, he kept feeling uneven in places. So how does he become the president? I mean, that could be a story in and of itself. If even the writers admit that, like, well, Archer is, maybe he's put up there more as a figurehead, and then he becomes something else, like he defies what the expectations of things by understanding that he's being put there for political or PR purposes and then has to fill into those shoes. That might be a story in and of itself if they went that far.
Sure. But
otherwise,
I fear that if they did that, they would just assume that because he was a Star Trek captain, he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Like, that's just the way it is.
As long as they, if they like I say, if they approached it in a way of, oh my gosh, Captain Archer, da 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 da, and they sort of revere him like he's a Zephram Cochrane or something, and then he's like, no, I want to play with my dog, or something. It's like bring me my dachshund, I'll be fine. Do I have to do something? Oh no, and then he has to like fill in the. It's conceptually. It's always a depending on how they do it kind of thing. The problem is that no matter how good or with potential these concepts have, I have no faith if Kurtzman has his finger on it at all. And unless or until, now that Skydance has purchased Paramount, unless or until they sever themselves from Kurtzman and Bad Robot or buy out whatever their contracts are on ownership to the Star Trek franchise in some way, where maybe they're still getting their percentage on things, but they're no longer having anything to do with production or decision making. Until that happens, I'm just not gonna get too excited, definitely not going to start paying for another streaming service to see it.
No, and I don't know how solvent Skydance is. I mean, they're a smaller company than Paramount, so it's kind of weird that they bought them, but I'm not too well versed in the technical side of that deal.
Yeah, I've heard some. I mean, I get a lot of things through osmosis from being on Midnight's Edge and such, and so I don't know all the ins and outs of that. The guy that owns Skydance has been he was one of the forces behind the J.J. Abrams Kelvinverse at the time, because Skydance was behind those things. So there's a lot of thoughts that even though everybody and their brothers like get rid of Kurtzman, get rid of Bad Robot, this guy's all in with that group of guys, so he's not going to do it and just going to continue on or try to fake people out by bringing in somebody else to write or something, but there'll still be Kurtzman's fingerprints on things. So I don't know. I don't have a lot of hope for the franchise. I think the best of times, so to speak, ended with depending on who you ask, I guess Voyager was the last great series in relative terms.
Well, I still enjoy Enterprise. It's just, like I said, I'm not too big a fan of Archer. He's so emotional and such a hothead, and he makes stupid mistakes and just lets his emotions run wild. And of course, they ended that show with a TNG episode, which is just baffling.
That was just weird, and that was just a weird bookend to the whole thing. Just like,
big fuck you to the fans.
Yeah, more or less. And then of course the Mirror Universe episodes in Enterprise are one of the highlights of the entire series. Those were so good.
Disagree with you there.
Really, I really enjoyed those because they were disconnected from the rest of the show and were just an interesting little ship in a bottle kind of thing.
Hate Mirror Universe.
You hate Mirror Universe? Oh, okay. Well, it all depends on which one we're talking about.
Why would I care? Nothing in this shit matters.
I know, but I know it's just something about seeing like the evil versions. It's so cheese, but at the same time, there's something I just like about it because it's a nice diversion, I suppose.
I guess it's fun to see the actors doing their cheese, but that's about it.
Yeah, but it has to be done in bite sizes. It can't be the all. This is why like brief little asides, little what ifs kind of thing, fine. But the whole, now that we have multiverses,
the worst offender was probably Deep Space Nine. Their mirror universes stories.
Oh, it's
oh my god.
But I mean, putting Nana Visitor into like skin tight leather. Come on. There's some pluses to it.
There's
some pluses
for that.
Yeah, well, but not with Nana Visitor in Star Trek. Hey, come on, it's very specific. Anyway,
I just couldn't. And those episodes were even worse because they were so drab and depressing, and like, everything was so dark.
Well, most of Deep Space Nine was depressing. I mean, it was pretty. A lot of that was pretty dark stuff. Which I liked. I mean, that's the thing that I liked about Deep Space Nine. It wasn't sterile, and everybody wasn't a moral paragon by the end of the episode and everything. So
sure, that's fine. It's just that if you're going to do a mirror universe, then at least have fun.
Okay, right? I see. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Okay. All right. But
I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. They would have to fire Kurtzman. That's the main problem. I mean, I saw like the preview for his new show, and it's like, oh my god.
Oh, Star Trek Academy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Starfleet Academy. No, it looks. Oh god. The downvotes on the trailer alone on YouTube are like in the zillions now or something.
Really?
Well, oh yeah, I think it was one of the worst received trailers of anything ever. Last I heard, like if you can find it, if they haven't like locked off reviews or votes on that yet. Well, not only would you have to remove Kurtzman specifically, but you'd have to remove all his acolytes. Because anybody involved in Bad Robot at this point is there because they're on the same page philosophically with Kurtzman and Abrams. Sure. And so, you'd have to completely rip out Kurtzman, all his acolytes, Bad Robot in general, from having anything to do with this stuff before you could have a clean slate at it. But not knowing what all the contractual anchors are, not knowing if the owner of Skydance would want to do that in the first place. It's hard to say if they're ever going to do that. And the hill they would have to climb, if they did do something significant like that, it would go a long way to getting people excited for what comes next for Star Trek, but they'd still have a 90-degree angle to scale to bring people back and restore the faith in the franchise, because it's just been such garbage for so long now.
Yeah, I mean, it's embarrassing.
Yeah. And then they keep throwing money at this guy. How much money have they thrown at Kurtzman and his acolytes over Discovery and Strange New Worlds and Section 30 with like millions and millions and millions of dollars and all this work and everything else for utter and absolute garbage? Yeah. And it's like you're just tossing millions of dollars into a furnace. Why? Nobody's going to be buying this stuff for their reference purposes in the future. People are still buying original series action figures. People are still buying copies of the old movies. Yeah. Nobody's going to want to watch season 2 of Discovery 10 years from now. Nobody gives a rip. There's no money in it at all because it's garbage.
Yeah, I'm sure they're not even selling any like action figures or any merchandising at all.
No, the merchandise. Yeah, Midnight's Edge talked about this. The merchandising for the original series still outsells anything from JJ Verse forward as far as merchandising. They just can't. They couldn't give it away.
Yeah,
people still buy original Spock, and even Next Generation stuff sells more.
Oh, for sure. I mean, they just had like last year, Tomy made a super detailed model of the Enterprise A, which cost like $700 or something. It was, I don't know, like 3 feet, something like that. Huge, right? And they sold out like in a second.
Yeah, and the thing is that the money from all of the licensing for that stuff doesn't go to Bad Robot. Bad Robot only makes a penny off of the stuff that they've produced since JJ Verse forward.
Sure.
So that all goes straight back to Paramount or whatever. But now that it's Skydance and Paramount, and Skydance was involved in the JJ Verse stuff, it's like it all goes to the same spot now anyway. So anyway, there you go, guys. Yes, the great and the lamentations of the Star Trek franchise.
Yeah.
So aside from that, Mrs. Lincoln, how was the play? Very old joke.
I get it.
I know you do.
No, but yeah, we're probably not going to get any new Star Trek anytime soon.
Yeah, I don't know what they're... I know there's aside from... I think Starfleet Academy is the only project, obviously, we know is coming. After that, I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, but that's not Star Trek.
No, it's not.
Just Kurtzman shit.
Yeah, it's more DEI, progressive nonsense, Kurtzman stuff.
Yeah, and he took the worst things that he has, which is all that stuff, and then he mixed in the most annoying thing you can think of, which is teen drama. So that's Academy.
It's like, the trailer, I remember coming out of it, aside from the fact that it looked like they had a female Jem'Hadar. I don't even know if it is a Jem'Hadar, but it looked like a female Jem'Hadar, and I was like, Jem'Hadar specifically don't have females. Is that what that is? But either that, even if it wasn't...
They don't know
that. Yeah, but by the end of the preview, I thought, this looks like a YA Star Trek novel brought to life.
Yeah.
Like, what? No. And not only that, but of course, like I said before, trying to make a Star Trek series centered around a stationary location. Like I said, Deep Space Nine worked because it was that sort of like come together kind of thing. It was sort of a diplomatic thing. You had the wormhole, so the outer space came to the location rather than the going to the outer space, which, very Babylon 5-ish, as has been said many times.
even so, they had to add a starship by season 3.
Yes, the Defiant to so it did the concept well enough over time. Mm-hmm. But for Starfleet Academy, it's like, okay, all you're going to have is like, it's going to be high school rivalries and stuff with people going to classes. We're going to have, I cringe because I'm just waiting for their version of the Kobayashi Maru controversy where the students cheat the impossible to beat test or something. Like, oh, God.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, can you beat Captain Kirk's record?
It's going to be all those typical teen drama stuff. The girl's going to come up to the guy and it's like, I'm pregnant.
Yeah, or we're going to have racism. It's like, you can't be racist. Don't you know racism is bad?
Yeah, which makes no sense in the Star Trek universe.
Yeah. In the Gene Roddenberry Star Trek universe, it's like we're gonna have. I mean, if you can sort of duel it out between two completely alien cultures that you open your eggs on the fat end, and we open our eggs on the tiny end, and that's bad and that kind of thing. But probably won't even do it that nuanced.
Yeah, I mean, sure, but. Like they did in Star Trek Picard, like you got this woman, she's like addicted to drugs and alcoholic and like, what?
Let's make her a Starfleet officer.
Yeah, obviously they did.
Put her in charge of flying a ship. It's like, how do you feel? I feel great.
But that doesn't make any sense in the Star Trek universe, right?
No. Well, it shouldn't.
They've fixed all this shit. That's the whole premise of
well, part of I guess their escape hatch is that Deep Space Nine put a lie to a lot of the perfection of the Federation, with their gray areas and moral quandaries and such that were a little bit beyond, Picard having an ethical crisis or something. Because Deep Space Nine added a layer of seediness to the Star Trek universe that hadn't really existed previously into the Federation. So
sure.
You can
Sure.
kind of get away with some of that stuff, but yeah, there's some extremes that just make it like, well, yeah, there's a way to strike a balance, but if you have somebody that's going completely off the rails that doesn't make any sense for this setting, then they shouldn't be in Starfleet in the first place.
No, and there are certain things that have been dealt with, and I feel, at least, in the Star Trek universe, and like, you know, smoking dope is one of them.
Well, I mean, there are some elements of just human nature and addictive personalities that I don't think even the Federation could cure the universe of. But yeah, smoking pot out over here. Otherwise, like, I mean, they still have alcohol, synthahol, whatever.
Yeah, that's one of those things that is kind of weird. Like, okay,
Yeah.
what is synthahol? Did you get drunk or not?
Yeah,
I've never
it's like
been
it's
able
'cause
to figure it out.
Scotty obviously didn't like it.
No, obviously, and so I'm guessing you don't get drunk from it.
Yeah,
I
and
guess
even
it's
when
just-
like,
I guess it just tastes like alcohol, but you don't get drunk.
yeah, I remember when. Do you remember the episode on Next Generation where they beam up the alien Irish people and they have to make their own whiskey
Right.
because whatever they had on the ship wasn't strong enough, and like, oh. And then I think they gave him like some Romulan ale or something, and that blew the guy's hat off.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. Yeah. I always wondered, though, like, especially when Deep Space Nine came around, I thought, was all of that like, oh, we live in a place that doesn't require money anymore and we've cured crime? And I was like, was that all just Federation propaganda to make people feel that way? Was that really true? Was that all like the subtext of it? Like, I don't know.
I mean, most of that stuff doesn't make any sense. It's kind of like that episode with Nog and Jake when they're trying to buy a baseball card from
right.
Cisco up, and
Yeah.
it's like, oh no, can I borrow your 5 bars of gold press platinum?
Gold plus platinum, yeah, gold plus platinum.
Well, I thought you Federation people didn't have money. Oh, we don't. Well, then you certainly don't need mine.
Yeah, how do you address that? How do you put a financial motivation into any story when it comes to the Federation if they've done away with money? Like, there's no currency whatsoever. There's no rich or poor. Thurg. Last I heard, the female Jem'Hadar is a Klingon Jem'Hadar hybrid. My problem with her is she looked like she wanted to speak to me about my human privilege. I don't know what that is supposed to be, but that just Klingon Jem'Hadar hybrid.
Would there be a hybrid if they don't have?
Why?
They probably don't have dicks either.
Yeah, they were bred to be warriors, and that's it. They were disposable soldiers.
Yeah,
they were fodder. That was, I mean, everything about the founders was making fodder.
Also,
like the Wayuns were all the same because they were fodder.
Hold on, doesn't Academy take place during the start of Discovery?
It's a sequel to Discovery, I thought.
Sequel.
I believe it is a continuation from Discovery. I don't think it's a prequel.
Okay.
But then if Discovery,
but Discovery ends with them going into another universe, right?
And Discovery also took place in the original series timeline. So where did the Jem'Hadar were on the other side of the universe because of the? Wait a second. Wait a second. Wait. That doesn't make any sense. Oh God.
No, it doesn't make any sense because.
Oh no!
I even watched the last season of Discovery just to be able to.
You have my condolences. I never watched an episode.
I don't like criticizing stuff that I haven't watched. I was like,
fair enough.
I'll fucking
All right.
watch it.
Okay.
And it was horrible garbage.
Yeah.
But yeah, they went like 1,000 year into the future, into like another timeline, and it was, oh my God, it's so convoluted. I don't even remember.
Okay, well, my understanding is that Academy is a sequel to Discovery. Admittedly, I don't know how far into the future a sequel it is. So if it does somehow take place post wormhole Discovery and I don't know. and this is assuming that character is. My first thought was a Jem'Hadar. Maybe it's some other alien species. If it is Jem'Hadar in any way, shape, or form, boy oh boy, I don't even want to think about what they had to do to retcon that into existence. Are you really actually expecting continuity? No, it's not. It's not that I don't. It's just that I hadn't thought about what it would take for that to be so, given my bare understanding of how this particular timeline works. And as soon as it came to me, I was just like, "Oh God, that's even worse."
Yeah, I mean, they don't. The answer is they don't care. They just
I know.
The Jem'Hadar were cool. Let's put on some Jem'Hadars in there. But we gotta make it a female because, then we can
that'll be our female of color analog for all the conflict and the people not liking her.
Yeah.
And being suspicious of her and doubting her abilities.
And of course, they cast a black woman as her. So
right,
there we
exactly.
go. Now we got some DEI points, too.
There we go. Yeah, no, we smart. We smart and topical we are. This is what they did in the old series. Do you remember that episode with the guys that were painted white on one side and black on the other? Yeah, we're just like that. Mm-hmm. We're just like that. That's us. That's us too.
Dear Lord.
Anyway, there's something else we want to talk about. We've been doing Star Trek for 2 hours and 20 minutes now.
Wow.
I know. We could go on forever. It's not even like my main personal fandom or anything. I'm amazed that I actually was able to keep up.
Yeah, you don't seem to have any problem doing that.
Yeah. And our rankings were so similar. I was amazed. That was weird because I was honestly sure it's like, okay, well, Undoomed's such a more nuanced nerd about these things than I am, and such probably a sci-fi snob better than I am on these things. I thought there's no way, but oh my God.
Not really. I guess it's just my snobbery goes to the motion picture being my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it. Just think that's like wrapping a warm blanket around yourself.
Oh. Yeah, let's see. Right now, I'm introducing a friend of mine who's never seen it before. We watched all of Deadwood because she'd never seen it, and now we're watching Rome. And I'm reminded watching these shows how good TV can be.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes everything that we're getting lately just that much worse. Because at the same time I'm watching these things sort of for the sake of nostalgia and also introducing them to a friend of mine, for the sake of being able to keep up with some of the guys on Midnight's Edge and with my own curiosity, I'm also watching Peacemaker Season 2 and Alien Earth as it comes out. And good God, have you seen Alien Earth?
No, just first episode.
Oh, God. They just did... the absolute unnecessary purpose of Solo, a Star Wars story? Like, there's a backstory you don't need for Han Solo.
Sure.
The most recent episode of Alien Earth, we went back in time to on the ship where the aliens came from before it crashed on Earth, the big ship. It was... You did not need to know any of this information. It does nothing to help out anything in the plot. And on top of that, the characters in that episode on the original ship, just the level of absence of common sense, even for a layman in that episode, broke my brain. And just one example. I could go on for a long time, but one example. So... Mm-hmm. This, for those of you that don't know, Alien Earth takes place before the first Alien film, right? Now, how that works in the continuity, don't know, but I have my theories. Either way, so the ship that we're on looks just like the Nostromo in so many ways. The characters dress like all the characters on the Nostromo, except that this is supposed to be a science vessel. This vessel specifically went out in deep space to collect these alien specimens to then bring back to Earth for Weyland-Yutani, the big super corporation.
Was it even Weyland-Yutani back then? Wasn't it?
Yes. Yep.
Separate corporations?
Nope. Well, at least Yutani, if not Weyland-Yutani.
Right, so but in Prometheus, it was just one of them. They hadn't merged yet.
Yeah, it was Weyland. Yeah, there was no Yutani. This is after Prometheus, but before I don't know. Anyway,
Okay.
so Super Evil Corporation wants them to go out there. So everybody on this ship has to supposedly be some kind of like, exobiologist, scientist, disciplined, whatever. Nobody acts like it. They're all smoking their cigarettes and wearing their BDUs, standing around in a medical room with alien parasites attached to people's faces. No one's wearing any masks. No one's wearing any protective gear. There's no quarantine or decontamination procedure. They're just kind of standing around looking at these things. They don't know what they're dealing with because they tried to remove one of these things from the captain's throat, and the acid blood killed the captain.
Right.
So they had no idea of its physiology. They didn't know if it was going to release some toxin into the air or if there's any other, microbes or parasites or bacteria. Nothing. They know nothing, but they're standing there, and the most they have on is some rubber gloves, but they're just talking there, open air, letting people go in and out in the room in this one scene. And I'm just like, what? You're all dead. You can all die, and I don't care. I want you to die. You're so stupid. You don't belong in the rest of the gene pool. And I have to ask myself, if this is how they're behaving in a situation where their crew members have been overtaken by alien parasites, their captain is dead as a result of them not knowing what they're dealing with, how in the hell did they ever find or capture or store these things in the first place? These were the experts that did this? So the whole episode is just, and I for the last couple episodes, I've done a running live blogging on my Twitter about it because it's so bad. I want to chronicle how terrible it is. I couldn't go 2 minutes without something else suddenly happening that dumbfounded me even further. It's terrible. It's so bad. And yet the guy who's running the series, Noah Hawley, classically speaking, he's done some really good, like the first season of Fargo is amazing. Okay. You can argue about the other seasons of Fargo, but of all the things that I wouldn't have thought he dropped the ball on is the writing of this thing. Good God.
Well, that's the thing nowadays. They make every character stupid.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I mean, I guess in 90% of the cases, it's because the writers are stupid. And if you're stupid, you can only write stupid people. But if you're saying that it's this guy with a pedigree, then it's even weirder.
Yeah, I mean, in the first movie, it made sense because these people were not scientific experts. They did not have procedures for quarantine and stuff because they were truckers. They were space miners. They were blue collar. They didn't have this information. So them not taking the steps or precautions that you would expect of a scientifically trained professional in clean rooms and sterilization and quarantine, all that made sense. In this situation,
they did have a little bit of quarantine procedure, which
little bit,
broke.
Yes, exactly.
But
against Ripley's warnings,
yes.
Yeah. So you could kind of extend that recklessness or stupidity to those characters. Mm-hmm. These characters, you shouldn't have to do that, but it just shows like, how do you write a catastrophe smartly, right? And the only way that you do that is through like one little mistake by otherwise completely professional people who are prepared, or something that's outside of their control that breaks everything down, which people have done before. You could have a micro asteroid hit the thing and suddenly everything goes awry and there's no backup or something, but everybody acts smartly otherwise, but they just get overtaken. It's fine. In this case, every crisis is brought about by just utterly stupid people who shouldn't be there in the first place.
Right.
And that's really, really dumb because it's like, when the audience, here's the thing I always hate, when the audience is smarter than the characters who are purported to be professionals, it ruins everything.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's just, in the slasher flicks, you see the dumb teenagers running down into the basement. It's like, oh my God. But they're dumb teenagers, and you expect it. In situations where you're supposed to believe that these people are, 200 years in the future, no.
Yeah, and experts and scientists and all that stuff, that's different than just being a dumb teenager.
Yeah. And especially because we're just seeing them at the end of their story. I like I said, I can't even imagine how this is the group of people who safely tracked down, captured, and contained all of these alien elements to begin with without getting themselves killed. Mm-hmm. How did they do that? They anyway, like I say, I could go on, but it's just another example of just how terrible writing is somehow held up as worthwhile of spending millions of dollars on. And they pretend like they've done something really, oh my gosh, this is such an homage to the Alien franchise and everything else. No, you're insulting your audience and you're making yourselves look like idiots.
Yeah. And also, what I don't understand about the Alien franchise is why are you trying to keep grinding this course?
Yeah.
Like, it was fine. You had 2 good movies. That should have been it.
There's, there's there's a limitation to what you can do because it's like once the aliens are there, that's kind of it. It's supposed to be a slasher film in a spaceship kind of thing. Where do you go with that? The best examples of expanding the universe, as far as I'm concerned, were the Dark Horse comics of the 90s. There were some really good stories told about, now that the aliens are a known quantity, they're no longer like some kind of mystery. Mm-hmm. How do you create a story around the aliens and their existence that is driven by human and character drama? Right. That doesn't make for a good...
I do remember reading those comics, but I don't remember what they were about.
Oh, I like Alien Rogue was the first series I ever read from Dark Horse, and it had to do with them. They've captured the aliens. They're understanding more of their physiology and their sort of life cycle, and they're like trying to experiment in making something out of this, because it's always about the evil corporations trying to make something out of it. Right. And they engineer an alien king for reasons in the story that make a lot of sense because of the characters and everything else. And so it becomes more nuanced as to what they do with these characters. But eventually, what it becomes is sort of like zombie movies. The zombie movies, 9 times out of 10, the best zombie movies aren't so much about the zombies themselves as the characters having to deal with this world where zombies exist. Mm-hmm. And the dramas that occur, like even in Night of the Living Dead, the real story there was the upstairs-downstairs conflict between the survivors upstairs and the family downstairs, and shelter and protection and things. In the best alien stories I saw in the comic books, it was dealing with the politics of the corporations and the motivations of people with aliens. These specific aliens being part of the landscape. But now with this one, they're like, we're just going to introduce more aliens that are scary and just have them like run amok. Like we've done that. We've been there. That story's told. There's nothing. And especially when you do prequels, it's like you're not going to tell us anything new. And anything new that you introduce effectively disappears by the time we get to the first movie anyway. Right. So what's the point?
Yeah, I hate prequels.
Yeah, prequels, they don't... I'm hard-pressed to think of a prequel that was either necessary, first and foremost, they're almost never necessary, or good. Of course, the most dramatic example, of course, is Star Wars prequels, the prequel trilogy.
Sure.
Effectively unnecessary overall, though. The one thing I will give the prequels, because there were some parts that I like. I did at least like the fact that Lucas was trying to tell a different story, and it wasn't just a beat-for-beat rehash of the originals like the sequel trilogy was.
Yeah.
It didn't work in a lot of places. Through time, more rose-colored glasses have appeared, especially since the sequel series was so bad. Yeah. But I'll at least give him credit for trying to tell a completely different story, a more political story than it was. He tried. Yeah. So, credit for effort, I suppose. Yeah. But he shouldn't have been the only one wearing all the hats. That's the one thing he shouldn't have done.
No. But,
amongst other things.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't that widespread to do a prequel at that time as well. So I guess
true.
He didn't have. It wasn't the stigma, so it was more natural for him to do that, I guess.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of a new idea, right?
And
also always talked about it forever.
Yeah, I'd always talked about it, and of course they started naming the episodes with numbers, and New Hope was number 4, so people always wonder like, well, what happened in the first 3? So he planted that seed long ago that maybe there was something else to tell or what happened. Execution is, of course, very debatable over the years of how he did it in the eventual product. So, yeah, like I say, I give him credit for trying to tell a completely separate story. He, the thing that I do really like about the prequels is that, at least at the time before Disney took over, it really expanded the scope of the universe in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. I like that it added more fodder for more stories. Both in the novels and the comic books and in people's imaginations and stuff. I like that a lot too. It really took what was put into the first 3 films, and with the benefit of budgets and special effects and other ideas, made the universe bigger.
Right.
And I was a big fan of the expanded universe stuff, the novels, the comic books, the video games.
Have you heard that fan theory from The Rise of Skywalker?
Which one?
The theory that, in the Phantom Menace, right? You have Senator Palpatine.
Yes.
And you have Darth Sidious, right?
Yes.
So according to the fan theory, Emperor Palpatine is just Emperor Palpatine, and Darth Sidious is the guy we see in The Rise of Skywalker.
Whoever has that theory is not a fan. I don't know what to tell you. That is not a fan theory. That is just stupid.
Yeah,
that's just
retarded.
Stupid.
But it's what they're saying.
They're trying to, The biggest gut punch was when Disney took over and said all of the expanded universe stuff is no longer canon. That was my, because I had so much hope. I was like, oh boy, more Star Wars. I was so excited. And then like, oh yeah, by the way, everything that you've been following, all this continuity, all this trivia, all these characters and adventures and great stories that you've been, and even the bad stories. I mean, that's one of the things. Like I even have some love for the worst parts of the expanded universe sometimes, because at least it was an attempt at things. All of that doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter. So everything you put your heart and soul into over these years to have in your head to reference and share as a community, it's gone. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't understand that, because that's pretty much what Marvel made into a $1 billion industry. They had all this backlogs.
Well, right? you'd be, yeah. Well, except it'd be nice if Marvel would actually just mine their actual backlog for a lot of the stuff they do now, rather than trying to like put their own spin on it or something. But Kathleen Kennedy pretended like there was nothing to reference as they were building their universe. I think even one time she said, we don't have books. We don't have this, that, or the other to draw on. I'm like, what are you talking about, you moron? Right. You moron, fucking morons. And I tried. I really did. I really tried to get into the new continuity when it first came. Like before Force Awakens came out, I bought, as a super fan of Star Wars in general, I bought the Force Awakens visual dictionary. They put these things out over the years. We have a visual dictionary for each of the films or other things. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to try to get on board with the new lore. I'm going to try really hard. Because at that point, I still had some faith. I was just like, okay, maybe this is going to be good. Maybe, why didn't they just set it 1,000 years in the future and separate it from everything if they didn't want to deal with all of the continuity stuff from the others? Okay. And so I looked through the visual dictionary and I'm like, okay, so this is a new gang, and this is Kylo Ren, and this is his lightsaber, and this. And by the end of it, I thought, this has no life to it.
Yeah,
the fact that it was
very familiar.
Yeah, it was. I was like, I can't connect to this because it is completely unfamiliar. There's no connective tissue between this or anything that I've seen except for the original films, and even then, it's kind of tenuous. And when I saw the stuff about the First Order, I started thinking, how does this exist after the Empire? Why would anybody join this obvious cosplay empire after what happened with the first Empire?
Right.
Why? And especially in such a short period of time. I realize that, people's memories can sometimes be very short. I understand that. But a galactic empire that was enslaving and oppressing people and everything for, the better part of a generation, and then all of a sudden people are just like, yeah, let's do that again. Like, no. Come on. So it just, oh, God. It hurt me so much when they got rid of the old continuity and just said, oh, it doesn't matter. Such an insult. An absolute insult. Not only to the fans, but just all the people that put so much of their time and passion into that stuff that made it into a property worth paying $9 billion or whatever it was for. Come on. So stupid.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the greatest insult was the Last Jedi.
Of course. Yep. Let the past die. It doesn't matter. The Jedi were stupid.
Yeah,
Luke is just going to like skulk on an island because, oh, I'm just too suppressed to do anything.
And how many did they say it was? Like, there's just a couple of hundred rebels left?
I guess, or something.
I don't
the
remember
resistance.
The exact, yeah, I don't remember the exact number, but it was just a couple of hundred. Like, in the entire universe?
Right.
What?
And especially...
What happened? It was just like, it was... How many years is it? Between 30 years? Like,
oh,
what?
well, I mean, in the first movie, they used their super duper Death Star to blow up 17 different planets at once, and that's where all the people went. They're all dead now. Except that was the New Republic. I guess they just took it out because, laser beams can split in space to hit different targets, as we know.
Yeah.
God, that was so stupid. Ugh. Everything about it. Yeah, unlike the prequels, nothing about the sequels has gotten better over time. It's just gotten worse and worse. And, oh, God.
Yeah. Did you say you didn't watch The Rise of Skywalker? Or?
Never saw it. Never bothered watching it. I've seen like a handful of small clips, either from trailers or just things people have put on YouTube. But, I've learned more about the film from watching people do retrospectives on the sequel series or that film in particular, and there's absolutely no interest in my heart at all to ever see it myself.
No, you're better off.
Yeah, I just but the thing is, this is what I hate most about the people that have taken over these franchises, whether it's Star Wars or Doctor Who or Star Trek or Marvel Comics or whatever else, is the fact that seeing what they're putting out kills a lot of my love for these things. Because here's one of the things. When they said that Disney was buying Star Wars, and I thought, oh my gosh, we're going to get more Star Wars. Happiness is having something to look forward to, right? And when it's not a speculation. When you know that there's nothing worth looking forward to, it makes it really hard to continue being a fan of something that's been taken over by posers and pretenders and people that want to torpedo your. They want to ruin what was good about the thing that you loved out of spite, because they don't know how to deal with it. They didn't love it. They hate the people that did love it because they feel they were left out or something, and so they're just going to take it and ruin it just to spite you. That's what Rian Johnson did with The Last Jedi. That's what all these social justice and DEI guys have done.
That's pretty much the thing, isn't it? They not only hate the franchise, they hate you.
Yeah. They're jealous. They're jealous of the joy we had in these things. They're jealous that they couldn't join in, or they couldn't get it, or that they didn't have something of their own. So they're going to take somebody else's toy. They're going to pop off the Barbie head and turn it into a dinosaur. And now it's better. See, it's better because I did this thing. Now that it looks like me. It looks like me. They're so caught up in representation. I have to see myself in something. I don't have any imagination to project myself into another character. No, I have to see if I don't see myself, I can't relate to it because I'm such a narcissist.
Right.
I can't think outside of my own 2 feet personal space. If a hero doesn't have pink hair and a nose ring, well, I just can't see myself in that person. I can't see myself as a person of ethics and values and principles and dreams and beliefs. No, I have to see myself on an aesthetic level, and everything else can go by the wayside.
Yeah.
Fuck you. God damn it. I just get
and they
so
got
pissed
it
off.
literally in the Rise of the Force. What was it? No, The Last Jedi.
Mm-hmm. Oh, purple-haired Holdo. Jesus. Yeah, I'm going to talk down to everybody else. I know everything. I'm not going to share what my plan is with the people who should know more. And also, you're a man. You couldn't possibly understand what's going on here. You war hero who's put his life on the line for the resistance over and over again and saved countless lives. No, you're not worthy of knowing what my grand plan is. Stupid man. Toxic man.
And everything he did was right.
Well, as right as the script allowed.
Yeah.
Because he just took it. Yeah, he never protested.
That sort of snuck by the writer. I guess that's Ryan Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
It snuck by him, but everything he does and says is kind of right. He's like, well, we're here, right? Shouldn't we just blow this shit up? No, get your ass back here.
No, that's Neanderthal thinking. You have to stick to my plan. My purple hair
stupid.
says that I'm higher ranking than you because of my purple hair.
Yeah.
Am I completely not in any way, shape, or form military commander clingy cocktail dress?
What was that all about?
I don't know. I mean, at least in Empire Strikes Back, when Leia was giving like commands and orders to people, she looked like she was wearing the uniform of all the other soldiers just without the helmet. So at least she was part of the team. But no, Holdo shows up and she looks like she's ready for one of the most boring operas you've ever seen.
I think they were trying to channel Mon Mothma, but she wasn't a military person, right?
she was a politician. She was a diplomat. She'd been sort of like forced into a kind of military strategy situation. She was sort of like a civilian commander, more or less.
Right.
But her outfit wasn't ostentatious. It wasn't like trying to be a fashion statement. It was just like ceremonial senatorial robes from old Rome or something.
Mm-hmm.
But Holdo's got to have purple hair and a clingy dress and looking like she's slinking around all over the place and be all haughty to people. And also, at least Mon Mothma took a moment of silence and dourness to acknowledge the lives of the Bothans that were lost in trying to get the information.
Right.
It's like she actually showed some emotion over the fact of the cost of war. Holdo was just like, you stupid man, I've got everything covered. Like, good Christ.
Did you ever watch Andor?
I did not. I've heard good things about it from people that I trust. I just can't bring myself to bother paying for Disney Plus to watch it.
Yeah, just pirate
at this point.
Pirate.
Maybe it's on Hulu now or something. I do have Hulu. I guess Hulu and Disney Plus are practically almost merging now or something. But no, I except for some clips, I haven't watched any Andor. Have you? And what did you think?
Yeah, I've watched it. I think it's a good show. It suffers from the same thing that every other new show does, which is they set out, this has to be so many episodes, and we're just going to stretch the story as much as it takes.
And filler everywhere.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's good, but there's an awful lot of filler. It's so slow, and I don't mind a slow burn, but it just feels, you could feel the writer stretching everything out.
Yeah, I really hated that with, well, I mean, most streaming series are like that. They have like a 13 or 10 episode thing, but they have maybe like 4 or 5 episodes worth of story. And if you have 4 or 5 episodes worth of story that you're trying to stretch out over 8 episodes or 10 episodes, good gravy. Could you insert some episodic, just bottle stories in there somewhere that don't feel like they're nothing, or you're just waiting for something to happen? Or could we get back to an episodic format for some of these shows? There's on Netflix, I think, of Jessica Jones, the Marvel thing. Jessica Jones in the comic books, she was a private detective. It's like, that is a perfect setup for some episodic stories where she's tackling this case or solving this mystery. And did that happen? Oh, they teased it, but they never did it. It turned into a 13-episode slog of stretching out one story arc and just kind of running around and wasting time all the time. And it's like, what a wasted opportunity. Like we talked about before with Star Trek. We remember specific episodes as the cream of the crop because that one story was so good. And even though it might, single stories and episodes might have towered above others, you kept watching because you had different people writing them and different ideas being investigated and looked at and different tones and senses of humor.
It was fine to have a bad episode once in a while because you knew that next week will be better.
Right. The variety made it good. Just like I said before, even now on reflection, even bad Star Wars in the old continuity was still something you could kind of cherish because it was cute. You know, one of my guilty pleasures is one of the stupidest novels that was ever written for the expanded universe, Darksaber. It was so stupid of a story, but I just love it because it's so cheesy. And even bad episodes of Star Trek: The Next Generation, they're still bad, but they're a point of community over how bad they are because everybody loves everything else around it.
Right, and the difference is, like I said, you know it's going to be better next week, but in these new shows, you don't. You see this long, stretched out episodes where nothing happened, and you know it's going to be the same next week.
Yeah, there's a lot of times where when a new show comes out, I'll give it the first 2 episodes because I know that whatever I'm going to see in those first 2 episodes, that's how the entire series is going to be. I don't have to guess. Like you said, there's no line of demarcation between stories. It's just going to be one long, continuous thing. So if they can't grab me and keep me moving after 2 episodes, unless I'm having to watch it for homework for a discussion I'm going to have online or, like Midnight's Edge or something, right now, if I didn't feel like I had to for the sake of having some reference, I would have dropped Alien Earth after the first episode, and Peacemaker season 2 would have dropped it after episode 2. Like, nah, this is a waste of time because it's just nothing's there.
It's a huge the hubris of thinking that you're gonna write like 13 hours of story.
Yeah,
that is a continuous story. When it's hard enough to just get an hour and a half movie that's good, it's mind-boggling. It's now ancient, and it was one of the first times I ever saw Idris Elba. There was this British series called Ultraviolet, and it was like, I think it was only 4 episodes long. This is like when British series were, they'd have a whole season of like 3 or 4 episodes or something. But I remember the behind-the-scenes stuff was the guy that came up with the idea. He ended up writing all the episodes. He ended up directing all the episodes, and it was vampire hunters in the modern day. It was modern day vampire hunters, and those like 4 or 5 episodes or whatever it was a very small number of episodes. It told a complete story. And it was all really cool. It left some questions and everything else. And by the end of it, I remember the lore was they came back to him after the fact and they said, "Hey, that was great. Are you ready to do a season 2?" And he's like, "No, I told the story I wanted to tell. I'm done." And he had all the rights to doing any more of it, so he just said no, and he just stopped. And boy, oh boy, if more shows knew when to stop, if more people making these shows knew their limits beforehand and said, that first season was great, we should do something else now. Because I can't count how many times where like the first season of a streaming series is really, really good. I think of like Penny Dreadful. If anybody in the chat's ever seen Penny Dreadful, the first season of Penny Dreadful is amazing. And I always think that, the people that have these shows, they probably have these scripts. They've had them around for years and these ideas, and they've had a time to workshop them and craft them. And then they have a really great first season. They're like, okay, now give us a season 2. It's like, and you've got 6 months to do it. And then they put out crap. Yeah. And it's like, no, we should just stop. So Penny Dreadful, Carnival is a different beast altogether. They thought they were going to have more seasons. They had to rush the second season. It ended up bad. This is pre-streaming days anyway. Right. But Stranger Things I thought should have stopped with that set of characters after the first season. I thought Stranger Things should have been an anthology series with each season being a completely different story in a kind of shared universe, but they just kept throwing these same characters into more ridiculous stories. And some seasons were better than others, but I always thought that should be a one-off show. Yeah. Anyway, I got to go pee.
Okay. Have fun. And while Undoomed does that, Evil One, Penny Dreadful season 1 was awesome, and there was crap after that. Yeah, the first season was an amazing setup for a lot of things, and it should have just stopped. I mean, Ava Green. Oh, I mean, honestly, admittedly, I could watch Ava Green all day, and so seeing more of her, literally and figuratively, as the seasons went on, was great. But yeah, that second season with the witches or what? Oh God, such a downturn. Ugh. Didn't Ultraviolet get an American adaptation? I thought there was a pilot that they did for an American adaptation. I don't think it actually got a full series. Or if it did, I missed it. I have Ultraviolet on DVD because I loved it so much. And again, this is back when I didn't know Idris Elba from Adam. So that was back when he was practically a teenager, I think. So, read by nature. After Obi-Wan and Mando season 3, I couldn't be bothered with Andor. Yeah, that was the thing, is Andor suffered from the badness of all the stuff they'd done prior. And like, Mando. God, were there oh yeah, Mandalorian. I kind of gave up. I almost gave up after Book of Boba Fett. I didn't even watch Mandalorian season 3. Because by that point, by the end of Mandalorian season 2 and everything I'd heard in between, whatever tiny slivers of faith I had left went away. Especially when they fired Gina Carano and all that stuff. I was like, no. If they've got their fingers into the show so much that it's starting to tear out actors and characters and starting to meddle with it, yeah, then it's not going to be any good. Not going to be any good. Let's see. But yeah, Penny Dreadful was the first season of Carnival. If you can get your hands on that, that's great. Great setup. The second season, it wasn't the people involved's fault. The HBO or whoever, Showtime, whoever did it, they cut them off. They gave them one last season. They were expecting at least 3 or 4 or something, and so they tried to cram a whole bunch of stuff into the second season that was supposed to be stretched out over 2 or 3 more seasons, and it just didn't work. But that first season, especially, and the opening, of all the things, the opening credit sequence to Carnival is an absolute joy to watch. It's an amazing piece of art in and of itself. Like that and the opening to Daredevil. There's some opening credit sequence that I just can't help myself but watch every time it comes up.
And I'm back.
And welcome back. Welcome back. Oh yeah, how's your new music project going?
Which one?
The weren't you doing a sort of a synthwave project or something? Or am I just completely misremembering something here?
Well, I do like synthwave, and I do make synthwave music. I'm not sure if there was a project.
What am I mixing up? I thought you were working on something that you were. Maybe my mind has gone completely goofy. I apologize.
No, I do make music. That's one of my hobbies, but
yeah,
not a specific project that I can recall.
Then
but
my bad.
Yeah,
my bad.
I did a new song like 2 weeks ago or something.
Mm-hmm.
About the last time. Yeah, that's always great fun. I also like making just like soundtracks or like scores for fun.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of film music.
I always have a hard time. One of my creative hang-ups is that I always seem to need some outside impetus to nudge me towards doing something creative. I'm a very terrible self-initiator.
Okay.
Like if I sit in front of a blank page, nothing comes to me. There has to be something else. And so I end up falling most of the time to do either like momentary necessities of making a thumbnail for something or making a meme or a joke with my nascent Photoshop skills, or doing some kind of like fan project or something that's based on some other thing. Like making my own thing up is very tough. I had the opportunity to talk to Chuck Dixon last week or whatever, the comic book writer and author and everything, who I'm a big fan of, and listening to him talk about all these ideas he's got going, all these projects and all this stuff, I'm just like, oh my God, why can't I be that inspired? Why can't I just find that one spark, because he's just like listing off, like, he's like, hey, Chuck, you got any projects coming up? And he's like, yeah. I mean, he's been talking about, we were talking about, Conan stories, and we're talking about the other things he's working on, the comic books and the cosmic space operas and stuff he's working on, and all these other novels, and how he's he just out of the blue decided to write a continuation of the Edgar Rice Burroughs John Carter adventures for a new book that's coming out. And I'm just sitting there going like, oh, and he's like, do you have anything else you're working on, Chuck? He's like, yeah, I got a project I'm working on called Buttermilk. I'm like, what's that about? Oh, it's about a sort of a 1930s, 1940s Old West actor who has his horse kidnapped. And it's all about his horse being kidnapped. And so it's like, oh, so, Roy Rogers gets Trigger kidnapped. Yeah, it's kind of like that. I'm like, that sounds great. That sounds fun. It sounds so simple. Like, why can't I go? So I get like frustrated with myself because like I know I have it in me to at least do something that'll be enjoyable for me. I'll feel like I accomplished something, but I have such a terrible time just like sitting down and like coming up with something I can get excited about enough to want to put that much effort into. It's very frustrating.
Well, I mean, I find it depends on what kind of project you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to music, I find that just getting a new synthesizer is really helpful. Mm. And I don't mind. I don't mean getting out and buying like a whole like physical synthesizer, but just go online and buy like a $30 synthesizer and just fuck around with it. That usually starts my creative juices if I don't have any ideas when I sit down. But if I feel like, tonight's a great night to make some music, got nothing else to do, and that would be a lot of fun. But I don't have any ideas. I'll just go out and like, I don't know anything about this synthesizer. It sounds kind of cool in the demos. Just buy that, and then a song will just appear.
Yeah, I've found something similar when it comes to like doing Photoshop little gags and things, mm-hmm. or small things. When it comes to like writing something, I'm not quite sure what the equivalent would be. Because I've seen countless movies, I've read countless books. There's so many different pieces of different things or whatever else that I could try to put together. But for some reason, just like, and it's also sort of like a self-confidence thing, like, oh, who's going to care about this, or this is just going to suck, I'm terrible. Like, especially after you talk to somebody like an accomplished author or something, it's like, man, he's got an entire lifetime, a whole work of stuff. It's like, and I find myself falling into the pit of comparing my beginning to somebody else's middle or something, which is always a terrible way to go.
Sure.
But,
sure.
Yeah. But I've been struggling with this my entire adult life, so why stop now?
No, but I mean, inspiration is always hard.
Yeah.
I have no idea where writers get their ideas from, and like they say in a Stargate episode, it's like never ask a writer where he gets his ideas. The truth is, we don't know.
Yeah. I remember that there was a joke on a Norm Macdonald interview episode. They got Super Dave on there, and Norm Macdonald's sidekick, he looks at Super Dave and says, yeah, so I have a question for you. Where do you get your ideas from? And Super Dave has just got this absolute bewildered, I hate you look on his face as he's looking at it. And it's just like that. Oh, man. It's like that's one of the worst questions you can ask somebody about anything.
Yeah. It's just a quirk of our neural network.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you got any projects you're working on?
Well, I mean, I did a project. It was the first time in a long time that I found the oomph to just sit down and I wrote, 30, 40 pages worth of stuff. I've talked about this before on people. So again, I didn't do it completely under my own steam. It's a fan project of a kind. To make it very, very brief, as brief as I can. There's a video game that I like. It's about vampires. It has a mention of something in one of the documents within the game that's just a one-off comment about an organization of vampires somewhere. It's very, very brief. It's like 2 sentences long. And I always thought, we're never going to find out what that is, are we? Because there's never going to be a sequel to this game, it doesn't seem like. So my imagination started building up what this organization was from the little bits and pieces I had and everything else. And I created I created it in the format of a role-playing game supplement book. And I used my Photoshop skills for layout and wrote the whole thing myself. There's probably 99.9% of it is all my stuff just made up based on that one little seed of a thing from a video game. And I just worked on it. I had to rewrite the thing like 3 different times because it's all about druids. And I was trying to get the cycles of the moon correct for the story that I was writing. And I kept getting it wrong because scientifically this wouldn't have happened then and all this. Anyway, so yeah, I dumped myself into this as a fan project for this video game. And I was like, hey, other people who like this game on Reddit or whatever, I wrote this thing about this thing. Nobody cared. It's just like I could, nobody, well, I can't say nobody cared. Like a couple of people showed some interest, like, oh, what that's about. But I just thought, I realize this is a silly thing, but the fact that there's like a subreddit with like 16,000 people on it, you would think somebody would be interested in hearing about this or asking questions or giving me feedback. No, not really.
Okay. Yeah,
nothing. So it was a real downer because I was just like, I guess I just wrote this for me. I proved to myself that, given the right circumstances, I can get interested in something and not have to have somebody poking me, because nobody asked me to do this. There was no assignment or some necessity, and it was for a game that's like 7 years old now or whatever.
Right.
But I can look at it and I can say, well, that would not exist save for my effort. Ta-da!
Yeah,
so that's about all I can.
It's disheartening when that happens.
Yeah, and so it's kind of thrown a bit of a wrench into feeling like I can do something else. I see, and this is the thing. I get kind of frustrated. It's like, well, Scribe, do you need reciprocal feedback? Do you need affirmation from people to do something that's just for you? And I guess, well, maybe a little, but I don't know. Scribe, I'm working on something and it blew up. It started out as a character idea and then grew into a little story, and now it's a whole world. Try the George R.R. Martin way, plant a seed and let it grow. Yeah, I mean, if I was a smarter man about it, I'd take this thing that I wrote and just take out all the references to the video game part of it and just make it its own thing and somehow just carry it forward. But it's written in such a documentarian way and not like a narrative with characters way. I'm not quite sure if that's something that could be like anything more than that. But I don't know. I think it's a style of writing, I suppose. But yeah, so yeah, there's always the 50 Shades of Grey route. It started
What's
out
that?
as
What's that?
oh well, 50 Shades. Do you know what 50 Shades of Grey is?
Sure.
Yeah, so that started out as Twilight fanfic.
Really?
And the lady just changed all the names of the scenarios and turned it into its own thing, and it sold a zillion billion copies, became its own yeah, if you're lucky enough to have that happen, then sure. So yeah, that's my only other avenue for that. I got a couple other ideas though. Like I keep wanting to do like I've got this idea. I don't want to say too much. I don't want you to steal my ideas. I got this sort of quasi Conan / John Carter's space opera adventure kind of story I came up with a while back.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a matter of like sitting down and actually making it work without my self-consciousness or doubt getting in the way, I suppose.
Right. Yeah, that's tough.
But here's the thing. I've made book covers out of my Photoshop for all of these things so far. I just haven't actually written them. So I could show you the book covers for the fictional fictions I haven't made.
Classic thing, You're going to start a company, but you start with a logo.
Oh, speaking of logos, the City of Austin, Texas logo.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys in the chat saw this. I can pull it up here just for reference. Yeah, so we just had the Cracker Barrel fiasco, right? And now we have, let me see if I can find it here. We have the City of Austin, Texas has decided, I'll just screen grab this real quick, come on, there we go. Decided to spend reportedly $1.1 million on a rebrand of the city's logo. And I'm like, wow, $1.1 million. What does $1.1 million buy you in this day and age?
Not much.
And let me tell you, let me find it here. No, I want to get that there. Sorry, guys, it's all about tabs and tab work. There we go. What we have as a result of $1.1 million, the city of Austin, Texas, we have this. Looks great, doesn't it? Boy, oh boy. I mean, I know that if I was going to go from okay, admittedly a little weird Aladdin coat of arms kind of thing, I definitely want to go to something that looks like a logo for a paper mill.
Yeah, like I said, it looks like a auto insurance company.
Yeah. Or like I say, I keep thinking of something like paper towels or toilet paper, as that's the logo. You'd see that, like you go in the bathroom, you have to open a new wrapping of toilet paper, and that little AA thing is on it. Yeah.
I just keep imagining the line under saying autism.
You know, with my Photoshop skills and my gigantic library of fonts, I got to tell you, I probably have one of the biggest library of fonts in the world at this point, because every time I try to do a joke with Photoshop, I have to make sure that if I'm like recreating or making a riff off of an existing movie poster, I find either the exact or close enough font to make the joke work. And so I've got a zillion fonts now. So yeah, I could make that work. Autism, yeah. City of
That'd
Autism.
Be perfect. Yeah, it'd be perfect.
But yeah, so that's what $1.1 million. And I say, yeah, did the same people that did Cracker Barrel do this?
Yeah.
But,
I don't know. Yeah, what's the logo about? Is it the bell curve?
Is Austin a particularly hilly place? Because I thought that they were supposed to represent like the hills or maybe something. I mean, it's Texas, so it's not particularly hilly, I don't think. But I don't know.
Yeah, I've never been to Austin, but
I've been to Dallas, Fort Worth, surrounding area before to visit family, and that's it's about as flat as you can imagine. But maybe Austin's different. I don't know. Or I always hear keep Austin weird, so maybe that's supposed to represent weird.
Okay.
I don't know. But the somewhat Egyptian-looking coat of arms that they previously had with the wings and the Aladdin lamp, not quite sure where that's supposed to come from either. But whatever.
No, so, yeah, but I mean that looks like a city. I mean, it
looks more city than the replacement, certainly.
A city should have a coat of arms, not a fucking car insurance logo.
Yeah. But yeah, guys, so $1.1 million. You know, hey, Austin, Texas, I'll make you a new logo for $50,000. I mean, and it'll be better than that.
Yeah.
I promise. I promise it will be. Even though I'm not much of a graphic designer, it'll be better than that.
Yeah, that's pathetic.
Let's see. Oh, to be topical for a moment, what do you think about renaming the Department of Defense the Department of War?
Well, I did make a tweet about it.
You did?
I don't really care. Like you can call it whatever you want, but seeing as how for the last 80 years that it has been called the Department of Defense, we have never used it for defense, only for war. I guess Department of War is more honest.
Yeah. The Department of Global Conflict.
Well,
that might be more appropriate.
Certainly never been used for defense, only for offense. So, like, okay, I guess that's fair. Like,
well, but a good offense is a good defense, you know.
Yeah, sure.
So, I mean, in a way, that depending on your point of view, from a certain point of view.
Yeah.
It definitely sounds more aggressive and machismo. The Department of War, Secretary of War.
Sure.
Going to war.
I mean,
it sounds more threatening.
It doesn't really matter to me, but yeah, sure. No. Okay. I guess we could call it like that. Or what was it? The one I said, Department of Fuck Around, Find Out?
Find Out, yeah. I was Department of Step Up, bitch. There's a lot of name change stuff that Trump's been doing. I was like, whatever. Like, the dumbest one, the Gulf of America. Come on, it's just so silly. Whatever.
Yeah,
It doesn't change anything, but it just sounds stupid. And it's like, okay, you want to revert Mount McKinley back to Mount McKinley, fine. Military base back to Fort Bragg or whatever it is. Okay, fine, whatever. But Gulf of really geographical location. Otherwise, come on, body of water. Who cares?
Yeah, it's just one of those things that like doesn't affect me at all.
No, it's functionally irrelevant. Yeah, I can have my opinion on it, but it's like it doesn't change reality. Whatever magic words you want to use, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's like, but some of those things sound like the kind of things you'd do, like if you were a child. Like, so what would you do if you're president? I would do this, and it's just like the silliest, like meaningless thing, but just because you can, it's like, okay, well, I'm gonna do it because I can. Like, all right, nobody's stopping you.
I mean, I guess, but can he? He has to put this through Congress, right?
Yeah, well, that's one of the things that always kind of, there's so much of these procedural things that have to go through Congress, and yet at the same time, it just reminds you how much power Congress has abdicated to the executive over the years. Mm-hmm. You keep seeing all these complaints about what Trump's doing with executive orders or this, that, and the other. And I'm like, guys, you had no problem with this when Obama was doing executive orders. You had no problem with this when Biden was doing executive orders. And the only reason that he can do executive orders, you guys let him get away with it, is not because Trump is doing it, is because Congress over the decades has promulgated so much power into the executive that should belong with Congress, that you can't turn back the clock without you guys having to say, well, if we restrain the executive now, being in the minority party compared to the White House, we're just hamstringing ourselves when our guy gets back into the chair. So every time you see a Democrat on one side or Republican on the other complaining about the abuse of executive power, all they're going to do is complain. They won't do anything about changing the law or restraining the executive because they don't want to lose those toys when it's their turn.
That's the way it is.
Yeah. And so anytime I see anybody complaining about what Trump is doing on an executive level, I'm like, and? Every time I just go ... and ? Same thing with, the auto pen. Like the big thing now is like, oh my gosh, Biden signed everything with an auto pen and he didn't even know about the pardons and the clemencies that were being issued in his name and so on and so forth. I'm like, okay. And because otherwise, unless consequences occur, unless somebody is punished, unless a precedent is set or someone is criminally charged, it means nothing. It's like you can complain about all these violations of the Constitution that anybody and their brother looking at it plainly would say, that seems like an obvious abuse of power. And you go like, yeah, it is. But tell me, who in the Bush administration was jailed for Abu Ghraib? Nobody. Right? Who went to jail for drone killing an American citizen? Nobody.
Right.
On and on. You can name example after example where the people who should be held responsible, insider trading for personal enrichment during the course of supposedly serving the people. Oh, we have a whole law for that. And when was the last time that it was actually enacted or enforced? No.
That one is the most infuriating.
Because there's actually something specifically on the books to restrain and punish that behavior, and it never gets enforced. A law unenforced is not a law. It just doesn't matter. And of course, one of the mainstays of my channel is complaining about DEI stuff, which is so flagrantly in violation of the Civil Rights Act again and again and again by private and public organizations. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter. There's no enforcement. It hasn't been enforced for so long. Why have the EEOC? Why have the Civil Rights Branch of the Justice Department if you guys aren't going to actually punish people violating this stuff? And even now, they're all hesitant to do it. The lowest hanging fruit are the colleges, but the real meat is in the private sector. But they're scared to do it because, man, there's a lot of money in those things.
Yeah.
A lot of money in Meta and Amazon and Microsoft and all these giant companies that have been, just breaking the law for years and years and years. But if you actually did anything about it,
Yeah. Did you see? I think it was Meta. Yeah, Meta got hit with. No, it was Google. Actually, Google got hit with a whole bunch of billions in fines from the EU.
Yeah, it was antitrust stuff. They ultimately didn't decide they had to detach Chrome from the company as the browser, but they ruled that they had to share.
No, I mean this
oh.
was, I think this was today it was from the European Union.
Was it something different?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I'm out of step. Pardon me.
I just
Google EU lawsuit. Okay, 7 hours ago, Google hit with $3.45 billion EU antitrust. Now hold on, I got a pop-up. Stupid pop-ups. God. All right, let's try that again. $3.45 billion EU antitrust fine over ad tech practices. Brussels, Google was hit with a $3.45 billion European Union antitrust fine on Friday for anti-competitive practices in its lucrative ad tech business, a sharp sanction that riled up President Donald Trump. The fine, the fourth penalty Google has faced in its decade-long fight with EU competition regulators, follows bubbling trade tensions between major global powers and I should be sharing this on the screen for people. Pardon me, guys. There we go. That's better. Regulators, global powers, the U.S. threats of retaliation over EU scrutiny of American tech firms. Trump said in a post on Truth Social that the action was unfair and discriminatory and later told reporters that we will take up the matter with the EU directly. See, I can believe that Google has anti-competitive practices and antitrust problems.
Sure.
Trump coming to their defense like that, it's an American company, I get, but quote, we cannot let this happen to brilliant and unprecedented American ingenuity, and if it does, I'll be forced to start a Section 301 proceeding to nullify the unfair penalties being charged to these tax-paying American companies. Is that all it takes to get out from under antitrust laws, that you pay your taxes? Or whatever taxes you can get away with?
Yeah.
I don't trust Google for anti-competitive practices.
No, and you shouldn't. But there is also a thing that sort of bothers me, and that is that all of these companies have to, I mean, they're getting sued by basically every country in the world all over the place. Mm-hmm. There should be some precedent. I know this is never going to happen, but there should be a precedent that says that you can only get sued in the country you're from, or some shit like that. Like you should obey the laws in your own country, and if the other countries don't like it, then they can fuck off. Right? I know it's not going to happen.
Well, but I mean, if you're operating business in another country, like Google has offices in Europe.
Yeah, but
they're a global country. I mean, if you're only allowed to be prosecuted for the laws that apply to the location of your headquarters. Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Yeah, I mean, it may be just a stupid pipe dream, but it's.
Well, I mean, then everybody could headquarter in a country that has no particular laws, period, and never be punished for anything.
Okay, that's true.
If I say I'm officially headquartered in, Montego Bay or something in the Caribbean that has complete lax laws on everything from whatever, shipping to the health regulations and so on. It's like, you just sent poisoned apples to China. Nope, sorry, no poisoned apple law here. Yeah, probably couldn't get away with that one.
I guess that's true. I don't know. It's just one of those weird things that I guess the thing that really bothers me is that Google censors shit in China, because that's what the Chinese government told them to do. Right. Yeah. There's some things, on a principle level, I don't like these companies kowtowing to, repressive regimes and stuff, and like effectively helping them push their own stuff. But if you want to play in that market, you have to abide by the rules you're in. Like, okay, well, there's no principled stance on not participating in that kind of behavior. Like, what happened to the apartheid, crusades of the 90s, where it's like, we're not going to do business with South Africa because of what they're doing. Mm-hmm. Major companies pulling out and everything as a matter of protest on a moral grounds, even if it was, kind of a grand virtue signal. At the same time, it at least had a principled stance after a fashion.
But no, we'll support China. I mean, they have some internment camps for people, but it's okay. It's okay that they're not committing any kind of humanitarian crimes or oppressing their people or using people as slave labor. No. Even if that was in Qatar, I understand slavery still exists, but they have a lot of money. They have a lot of oil money, so we can look the other way. It's fine. It's fine. Now, my question would be, how far, and I don't know the answer to this, and I don't expect that I will, how far removed are the EU regulations on anti-competitive practices from established American rules on anti-competitive practices? Like, would what the European Union's complaining about for Google, would that fly here if it was put to the test? And if the answer is no, then I'm not quite sure what Trump's complaining about. But
that's an interesting question. I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know. And I understand that there's a lot of divergence in law and practice between different nations and different places and things. And the European Union is such a conglomeration of things, and who knows what you're going to do there. But if what Google's doing there, what they're accusing them of or found them guilty of, wouldn't fly here.
I think that's a problem the European Union have a lot of the time they do this shit, is that they can't communicate what they're actually trying to achieve. Like they say like anti-competitive ad, whatever it was. Like what the fuck
ad
does
tech.
that mean? Why would average Joe, the European citizen, care? Like you have to specify like this is what they did. This is how they hurt people, like
right.
Whatever.
Yeah, you have to demonstrate the harm that they caused has to be something that people can understand. If it's all sort of granular and in the background, it may indeed be unfair in some way, shape, or form. But is it so noticeable that it's going to matter? Like you have to show the damaged party effectively.
Yeah,
and it's really hard to just like, well, your ad tech thing does this. Like you're not sharing your data correctly. Like, but it's our data. We own it. Mm-hmm. Yes, but I don't know. Like the all the legalese of this and all the particular. I mean, these lawsuits have been going on for years and years and years. And the likelihood that Google is going to pay a dime of it anyway, if Trump gives them effectively immunity from this, then. But but Google should be on and I underscored the word should be on Trump's shit list. Because of their now decade and a half of rampant DEI violations.
Yeah,
I mean, I've chronicled a good chunk of them on my channel before. There's no way they should have gotten away with that stuff without some kind of consequence. But they are a huge business. They bring a lot of money in. They're great for the economy, and they employ a lot of people. And they're willing probably to try to quasi bribe their way out of any more trouble. Invest billions of dollars into new projects and things and stuff to show and to pump up Trump's reports on the economy and job creation and everything else. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's what people forget. They always want companies to virtue signal their particular political view. But companies don't have views. They only have profit margins.
Yep, bottom lines. Yeah, whoever's writing the checks is the direction they're going to go. Whatever the wind's blowing, it's like, okay, well, so this administration is going to now start clamping down on DEI. Well, we're done with DEI.
Yeah,
we're just done. We're just going to divest ourselves completely of it, or just change the names on things, and then we're done. This administration doesn't mind it so much. Okay, we're back to what we want to do, and it just it doesn't matter.
They don't care about your political views.
No, it's like whatever's going to keep us in profits or more profits going forward.
Yeah.
It's that line from Ghostbusters. Winston Zedmore comes in and she says, "Do you believe in aliens, Sasquatch? The city of gold and everything?" Is like, if there's a steady paycheck in it, I'll believe anything you want. That's essentially how it all works at the end of the day. Yeah. It's a great line, too. Or the theory of Atlantis. I try to remember exactly what she said.
That's a bunch of stuff, but yeah.
She went through everything. The poltergeist, the theory of Atlantis. Area 50. I don't think she said Area 51, but...
That's a good.
The what?
It's a good movie.
Oh, classic. Classic. Yeah. They don't make them like that anymore, and especially just this hybrid of horror, comedy, and science fiction kind of put all together. It's like lightning in a bottle, that movie.
Yeah, that's one thing I miss is horror comedies.
I mean, they still make them. They like the one that comes to mind is Renfield from a couple of years ago, where Nick Cage played Dracula, and they had Nicholas Hoult as Renfield. They still make horror comedies. They're just
wasn't that horrible though?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. The horror comedies generally are not very good. They're not very memorable or something. So yeah, it's they still get made. They just don't end up being all that exciting, or they're just done badly.
Well, I mean, obviously, I don't have a scientific study for it, but to me, it just feels like the comedy isn't very funny.
Well, that's one of the topics we talk about relatively frequently on Midnight's Edges. And, of course, we've got Paul Chatto there, who's a veteran comedian himself and producer and writer of comedies and things. Yeah, comedy, like good comedy, has kind of gone by the wayside because no one's allowed to make fun of anything anymore. Mm-hmm. Because it's going to hurt somebody's feelings or something. Yeah. So you get all these really watered down, or you get like an Amy Schumer comedy kind of thing. Ugh. It's just garbage. That's Netflix dustbin history type stuff.
Yeah. Let me talk about my vagina for 4 hours.
Right. Yeah. It's stuff like that, or it's just. I try to think of like the last comedy I remember seeing in theaters, like recent comedy that made me laugh, was The Hangover. And I'm stretching my memory to think of another an actual comedy I watched that made me laugh consistently. And as the phrase goes all the time now, there's no way they could make that today. And it's probably true. The sensitivities of Hollywood aren't going to be turned back anytime soon. So that kind of humor, the inherent misogyny, or the drug use, the sexism, can't have that. You can't have people making fun or satirizing other people, because that's just mean. We can't have any hurt feelings or risk it.
Yeah, I mean, imagine doing like Tropic Thunder.
Oh God. Oh man, even then I was kind of, it wasn't even DEI territory or social justice territory then, but it was so shockingly funny. Robert Downey Jr.'s performance.
Yeah,
it just is so hilarious, and they would never if somebody put that script in front of Hollywood today, not in a million years would they touch that, or they would rip those pages out so quickly. Or like the opening where they had the fake trailers where they had Robert Downey Jr. and Tobey Maguire doing the homosexual priest thing, making fun of that. They wouldn't have that in there. It would not be. It would be terrible.
Yeah.
And yet everybody still loves that movie. Everybody still loves that movie. They can't get a hint. Sometimes it's okay to do something offensive when it's done in comedy.
Yeah.
But, oh, no, heaven forbid. Because that's what comedy's supposed to do. It's supposed to offend. It's supposed to test the limits of things.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very, reliable type of comedy when you just have a shocking punchline, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why I call it a punchline. They don't call it a gentle tap line.
Exactly.
Yeah. A sponge line. Read by nature. Renfield was entertaining. I would love to see Cage do more black and white skits homaging old Dracula. You know what movie I always wanted to see Nicolas Cage in? It was that fake trailer in the Grindhouse thing for the she-devil, the she-wolf of Stalag 13 or whatever that was, when it's and Nicolas Cage as Fu Manchu. Did you ever see that?
I don't remember it.
Oh my gosh.
What was it from?
So it was the Grindhouse movies that Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez made, and they made these fake trailers for movies that would never exist. And one of them
was... Is that in the movie?
Yeah, it was one of the previews for I think it was for Death Proof. It might have been for Planetary. No, it's an extra. It's kind of an extra, but it is in the movie.
I have seen the movie, but if it's not in the movie, then I probably haven't
yeah, no, it was. But they made these fake trailers for Grindhouse type movies that never made it, and it was Rob Zombie. They got all these directors say direct a trailer for a movie that'll never exist, and Rob Zombie did one where it's like the she-wolves of Stalag 13 or something, and it was like Nazi experiments into making wolf-human hybrids, and then out of nowhere, it's like starring, this person, and Udo Kier is this, and Nicolas Cage as Fu Manchu, and Nicolas Cage appears with this long mustache, his long hair, and he's just like laughing maniacally up in the air. It just makes no sense, but it's so awesome. Oh God, yeah! Just look up Rob Zombie Grindhouse trailer when you have a chance. Mm-hmm. It's like 3 minutes long, but it's amazing. But Nicolas Cage. The thing about Nicolas Cage is you have to find the appropriate way in which to harness his power.
Right.
You can have a movie with Nicolas Cage, and if you tell him to just be himself, he can do it. Like in Color Out of Space. Color Out of Space was probably one of the more recent. Just let Nicolas Cage be Nicolas Cage movies.
I don't think I've seen that. Is that
so it's an H.P. Lovecraft adaptation.
Mm-hmm.
And it does a lot of things right. In some ways, they let Nicolas Cage go too Looney Tunes cartoon because it really kind of takes away from some of the potential horror that is inherent to a Lovecraftian story. Mm-hmm. But it's also, in relative terms, one of the most faithful adaptations of a Lovecraft story you've probably seen in quite a while. Like I'm very familiar with The Color Out of Space. I've read it many times. And so I appreciate a lot of what they did. They stuck to it. There's a lot of little Easter eggs and things in there, too. So it was pretty good. And as far as an H.P. Lovecraft movie goes, it's up there. It's with the production value and everything else. Mm-hmm. I am a big Lovecraft freakazoid. I've seen or have in my personal collection so many Lovecraft things, whether it's like short film festival collections or adaptations or inspired by type things. I've always wanted more high quality. Like there was always that Guillermo del Toro for years wanted to do At the Mountains of Madness. And I thought, man, of all very few of Lovecraft's stories make sense to be adapted into like a cinematic presentation, because so many of those stories are first-person kind of personal apocalypse kind of stories. Mm-hmm. It's very difficult to turn those into like a narrative that could make it on a film. But At the Mountains of Madness is basically a giant mountain adventure that you could clearly create an entire like story around and make it a movie. And so, yeah, way back in the, I think it was either the early 2000s or something, there was a notion that Guillermo del Toro wanted to do Mountains of Madness. And I thought, God, that'd be great. And it never happened. I wish it would, but it never happened.
Yeah. It'd probably turn out shit.
These days, yeah, if somebody else did it, Midnight, Dagon is the best Lovecraft movie. Dagon's all right. I mean, as a Shadow over Innsmouth takeoff, it's one of the better ones. There's a H.P. Lovecraft Historical Society version. I think it was them, HPLS, that did a Innsmouth, and that was a lot more book accurate. But yeah, that Dagon's a really good one. There are some that are Lovecraftian that are much better. Like John Carpenter's The Thing is total Lovecraftian. In the Mouth of Madness, entirely sort of a fusion of Stephen King Lovecraftian stuff. One of the best direct adaptations. Hold on a second. It's was it? I don't want to say the name wrong. I know the actor in it. Hold on. The Resurrected. Okay, so The Resurrected was a Dan O'Bannon movie, and Dan O'Bannon was involved with like Return of the Living Dead and Heavy Metal and Dark Star and stuff like that. Anyway, The Resurrected has Chris Sarandon in it, and if you don't know Chris Sarandon, it's Susan Sarandon's brother. He was also the main vampire in Fright Night, and it is a adaptation of The Case of Charles Dexter Ward. of Lovecraft's story, and it is one of it's like a B movie from when it was like the early 90s or something, and it does show its age and its limitations on special effects, but as far as like being faithful to the source material, it's great. It's great. If you can find a copy of The Resurrected, I don't even know if it's streaming somewhere or something, but I've got a copy on VHS in my collection. I don't even know if I can watch it anymore. But if you can find a copy of The Resurrected, it's really good. It's up there as one of the better adaptations.
Have you ever seen Foundation?
You mean like the Amazon series based on the books?
I think it's Apple, but yeah.
Oh, no, and I've never read the books either.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's a typical modern reimagining.
Is it a faithful reimagining?
No.
Okay, yeah, because I first thought of like all these like excellent series from the past, like Wheel of Time and things. It's just like they're put in the hands of people that don't care. So I always get cagey about like, oh, this classic book series has been brought to life by XYZ Studio. Like, yeah, right.
Yeah, no, it's they're just making up shit as they go along. Basically, they have very broad strokes that they. Like, oh, that was in the book, right? Yeah, we got to bring that in. But they just
like, why? I don't understand. It's like especially with the comic books and it's right there. The scripts are written. In comic books, the storyboard's already done for you. Why is it so difficult?
Yeah.
Just give the people. It's like the line from Total Recall: "Give the people the air." You have what you want. Give the people the air. Like, give the people what they want. If you're a fan of Foundation and you make Foundation, they will love it, and they will tell their friends they love it, and their enthusiasm will bleed over into new fans. You find a whole new audience for these things. I know it's a crazy fucking idea, but geez, it just might work. It's crazy enough to work.
Yeah, it's I mean,
how do these idiots end up at the top of the food chain in these studios? How do these guys end up there? It's got to be nepotism and ass kissing and just conniving and not actual appreciation for what they have their hands on.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it feels so small. Like Foundation is supposed to be like something that takes place across the entire galaxy with over thousands of years. And it's like, oh, now we're in this room. Okay, now we're in this room.
See, and this is the thing. It's like, it's not like they don't need evidence of what it takes to make this work. Lord of the Rings, next to Star Wars, one of the most celebrated movie trilogies of all time. And who made it? People who loved the source material and tried to adapt it as best as they could. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be an exact match. You couldn't translate Tolkien exactly if you tried into a film. Same thing with Lovecraft. You know, most of the, like I said, except there's only a couple of stories in there between Reanimator and Mountains of Madness that has a cohesive enough narrative you can make a movie out of it. But at least, you know, you put people in charge who have a love for the material, or in the Nicholas Meyer sense, make themselves love the material long enough to make a decent piece of material for it. Mm-hmm. It just boggles me that this seemingly simple rule has escaped so many studios. It's not. If it was just Lucas, if Kathleen Kennedy was a unicorn among stupidity, then fine. Wouldn't make me happy, but it's also Kevin Feige, it's Kathleen Kennedy, it's the people running Amazon, it's the people running Apple, on and on and on and on.
Well, it's also partially the fault of the people, because people seem to be extremely stupid.
Or they just
I recognize logo. I press logo on Netflix. Well,
there's that too. Yeah. Never mind old product. See new product. I also think that part of it has to do with the fact that the standards of quality have dropped so low that anything that looks a little shinier than the last thing, they praise as some kind of revelation or something. And I'm just looking at this. I guess I'm just too old because I've got a pedigree and an expectation for what equates to quality. Like I said, I'm watching Deadwood and Rome, and these are serialized stories.
I never watched the Deadwood movie. Was that any good?
We just watched that because we watched. I'd never seen it either. So we watched the only 3 seasons. Mm-hmm. And at that point, I told my friends, like, I watched Deadwood. I got it on DVD, but I haven't watched this in years now, so I'm still kind of fuzzy on some things. Rewatched it, was great. I noticed a couple episodes that felt more filler than I remembered them, but in comparison to everything else, like, okay. And then we watched the movie, and I mean, having just binged the 3 seasons. Mm-hmm. It was nice to see all as many as they could get back that hadn't already passed away actors-wise or because of scheduling conflicts. It was nice to see everybody and sort of get a sense of like what had happened in the intervening time. The movie takes place approximately 10 years after the end of the 3rd season. Mm-hmm. But as I watched it, I could tell very quickly that this 2-hour movie was an amalgamation of plot lines that would have been in season 4.
Okay.
But now they've jumped ahead 10 years, so some things didn't quite make sense. Right. Like this should have happened a long time ago, or why is this only happening now? And so the movie, it worked because I'd watched the 3 seasons just prior. You can't watch that movie by itself and have it have the same impact if you hadn't just refamiliarized yourself with the storylines and the character dynamics.
Okay.
Because
Who
some
came
things...
Back? Like, obviously, Swearingen?
Yeah, so Swearingen and his entire cohort are there, his guys, except for Adams, played by Titus Welliver, because I believe at the time Titus Welliver was filming Bosch, so I don't think he was able to attend.
Sure.
And then, so Swearingen's back and all his guys. Bullock, Soulstar, Charlie Utter, Calamity Jane, Joni Stubbs, Doc Cochran, Bullock's wife.
Who was Timothy Olyphant?
Timothy Olyphant was Bullock.
Oh, he's back.
He was back. Hurst, Gerald McRaney comes back as Hurst, who was the villain of the 3rd season, more or less. Mm-hmm. So I mean, most of the characters you want to see are there. Cy Tolliver, who ran the other casino, isn't there because Powers Booth had passed away at that point,
right?
Which is a shame. And so you don't any other characters you don't see, and even some of the side characters are there, like Jewel, the lady at the bar who had the bum leg and everything. And there's a bunch of even though he was a very small role in it, Jeffrey Jones was there. The blighted Jeffrey Jones made an appearance. And what's her name that played? Oh, Jeffrey Jones. He was the. You remember the dad in Beetlejuice, or the principal in Ferris Bueller?
Oh, wait. Is that the pedophile?
Yes. Yeah, he played Merrick, the reporter or newsman in Deadwood.
Oh,
yeah. So he made it. He's in the movie briefly. He doesn't have a big part, but he's there, and he's there in the background and such.
Was that after he got caught? They gave him a job.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Oh yes.
I didn't expect that.
Yeah, I didn't either. I was kind of surprised. Like I think I had heard he was in the movie before I watched it, but I wasn't sure, and then there he was, and I was like, okay, well, I guess he's here. But he didn't have a big role. Yeah, so nearly every major character, except obviously the ones that could not come back because they passed away, was represented there. But it was it was easy to tell this is a whole host of storylines that would have made a heck of a lot more sense for season 4 than 10 years in the future.
Sure.
So on a sentimental level, it was fine. As a movie by itself, can't really exist unless you have a very intimate knowledge. Even though in a couple places they do flashback to a couple of scenes from the earlier seasons to kind of explain context. Mm-hmm. Somebody coming in blank would not be able to really enjoy or appreciate what was going on in the dynamics of the characters. So it was an okay love letter to what could have been. But it also kind of reminded you of just what a tragedy it was that show ended as early as it did. So, But if you're a fan of the first 3 seasons, definitely worth watching just to see some tie-ups of some loose ends or some storylines and things. And there were a couple of like nice sort of send-offs or final send-offs to a couple of the characters. So it was
Yeah, I mean, I loved the series when it was out. I don't remember when it came out, but that's got to be a long time ago.
Oh, it was 2000, early aughts, I think 2004 or something when it started, something like that.
Right.
Long time ago. Yeah, and these days if Deadwood came out, they wouldn't make it today. Far too terrible. No way in shape or form.
Walking around there calling everyone cocksucker.
Yeah, cocksucker every place, and all the racist stuff in there that was just that's part of the setting. But I mean, with as much money as they burn on popular mature entertainment these days, if they had greenlit Deadwood, it would have had 7 seasons.
Right.
Yeah, because I mean, but que sera. Yeah, so finished Deadwood, and now I think we're in the middle of the first season of Rome right now. And again, just reminding me of like what quality writing, acting, pacing, storytelling. There, we watched, I think it was like the 3rd or 4th episode of Rome the other day, where I couldn't believe this was only an hour-long episode. So much happens, and it goes, and it all makes sense. None of it feels filler, and you get so many different things happening, and they're directed and they're shown in such a way that you don't feel like you're missing something or it's happening too fast or you don't understand why this is happening versus that. And then by the time we get almost to the end of the show, I'm like, this was only an hour? I feel like I've been sitting here for a whole like an epic, like that kind of storytelling. The only other place I've ever seen that kind of storytelling done so well is a series on Netflix called The Last Kingdom. Have you seen The Last Kingdom?
Nope.
Oh my God! It tells sort of it's based on a book series, I guess. It tells a very highly stylized story of the founding of the British Empire, effectively, the United Kingdom. So it goes all the way back to King Alfred, and it follows a character called Uhtred and tells his story. So it's like this sweeping medieval Knight's Tale thing, and I swear the only thing that you kind of have to suspend disbelief on, which is easy to do the way that they do it, it's not too tough to do, is you kind of have to suspend your disbelief on the contraction of time necessary to travel from one point to another on the island nation or nations of the British Isles. That's only because sometimes they're in one place and then you cut 2 scenes later and they're arriving in another place. It's like that. It seems like it should take longer, but they kind of they do it in such a way that it feels like, okay, you can kind of hand wave away the amount of time it took to get from point A to point B. Other than that, though, man, it is so good. And so anybody in the chat, if you haven't seen The Last Kingdom, boy, oh boy, it's great. And like I say, an hour-long episode feels like I've watched an entire movie.
Is that new?
It's 2015 or something. Hold on. The Last Kingdom Netflix. It started I was right. It started in 2015 and concluded in 2022. It had it was kind of like Deadwood after a fashion because it had several seasons and then it had 5 seasons and then a film to cap off everything.
Okay. And
the film was pretty good. It didn't do the series a disservice, but man, that series, and it adapts a series of books from Bernard Cornwell called the Saxon Stories, and it tells this. Anyway, I won't give away too much because it's really good. But yeah, no, it's got medieval adventure, and it's got sort of a Game of Thrones, movement of kings and nations thing going on, and it's all centered around this one character who's not a perfect character, but he's great to watch, and the acting's good. Anybody in the chat, you haven't seen Glass Kingdom? You got 5 seasons and a movie worth of stuff to watch, and like I say, it's one of the rare times where like every episode felt like a giant meal, and I didn't feel dissatisfied at the end of it.
Well, that's a good recommendation.
Yeah. Actually, I'm thinking I should watch that again. It's been long enough. I should try to rewatch that. But anyway, I need to go to bed because I got to be on the road tomorrow morning to go visit the folks.
Yeah.
So
I guess it's
bedtime for
time to-
bonzos.
Time to round off.
Yeah. So Undoomed. For those of you, by the way, guys, I forgot to mention in the chat, in the description below, all the links to Undoomed stuff, his YouTube channels, his Twitter channel. I think I put his Patreon in there. You have a Patreon, don't you?
Yeah.
Yep. So let me double check what I got here, just to make sure I know what I'm talking about. YouTube, Twitter or X, Facebook, Patreon, all that stuff's in the chat. So if you're not familiar with Undoomed, and why wouldn't you be? Why would you still be here? Go check out Undoomed. Undoomed, do you have any upcoming projects of note or anything you've got going on that people should know about?
Not really. I don't have any news to give right now.
But in the absence of that, guys, Undoomed has a library of classic, legendary commentaries on different things regarding social justice and the insanity of the world that unfortunately are still as relevant today as when they were made nigh on 10 years ago now. So if you have the opportunity, go take a look at his channel and his large library of stuff. It's worth it.
Right.
As for myself, guys, as I said, I'll be out of town tomorrow, so there will be no Saturday stream. If I decide to do something on Sunday, I'll let you know. It depends on how much energy I have after the travel home from where I'm going. So keep an eye on that. Otherwise, everyone, hope you have a good rest of your Friday evening, if you have any Friday evening left, depending on what part of the world you are, and you have a good weekend ahead of you. I should also mention, for those of you that have stayed this long, do you know, I think Undoomed knows, do you know that I have a Discord server?
I think everyone does.
Well, okay. Well, on the chance that someone in the future is watching this, there's a link to the Discord server in the chat right now. If you'd like to join the Discord server, click on that link. You'll find yourself on the landing channel called Say Hello. And in addition to saying hello, you just have to say the secret word. The secret word will tell me that you're not a bot, have actually watched the stream, and have thus earned the right, the privilege, the entitlement to join the Discord server. And today's secret word is, what's today's secret word, Undoomed?
Bongos.
Bongos. Hey, say hello, bongos, and I'll definitely know that you watched this show. Otherwise, everyone, thank you guys for joining us for this long stream of consciousness regarding Star Trek and entertainment and all types of other things. Moderators, thank you for keeping an eye on things, even though everyone here is so well behaved. You have very, very little to do. Everybody who donated either to myself or to the Leukemia Lymphoma Society at the top of the chat box, guys, thank you so much for your generosity. Very much appreciate it. And with that, hope you have a good rest of your Friday and weekend ahead of you. Hope you're all safe and well. If you're not well, please get well soon. And we'll see you on the next one. Take care, everybody.
Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye.